Four Midwest Guys presents
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Avengers Endgame Review.
Hello everybody and welcome to Four Midwest Guys Presents Avengers Endgame Spoiler Review. With me here today is Stephanie making her video debut with us here at Four Midwest Guys. You may know her as John's better half.
Yeah.
Steph, I hate to tell you, but here John is referred to as the Dirty Jay-Z.
No, that fits. That works.
That works for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So, welcome, John.
Hey!
And I'm your host, B. Willie. So, guys, we've got a lot to get into. It was a 3-hour movie.
It's Endgame. We've got a lot to cover.
There's a ton to cover. As usual, when it comes to our reviews, we always do a small, non-spoiler, spoiler-free section, and then we'll switch to spoilers, and I'll make sure to give you guys plenty of warning in advance when to stop if you haven't seen the movie yet. So let's get started with our non-spoiler review. First of all, Steph, since you are our
first-time guest,
since you're a video virgin, let's start.
Let's
start with you.
Not true on House Ed or Deli.
Yeah.
We did video for Stranger Things season 2.
Oh, did you?
Did we?
Oh,
yes,
okay.
we did.
Okay, well, my bad. So for your second time around on the
For your Four Midwest Guy video debut.
for your second rodeo, let's ask you: is it
boy.
worth seeing?
Is it worth seeing? Yes, absolutely. And make sure you go to the bathroom before
Yes.
and then very quickly after. Because you don't want to go in between.
And if you do, run like I did.
Run.
Yes, for all you people that are unfamiliar with going to see Lord of the Rings in the theater.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Johnny, is it worth seeing?
Absolutely worth seeing. It's
Yeah.
it's probably, we haven't had like major epics come out in the theater in a long time. This is the first thing I think I've seen that actually truly felt like an epic. So
Yeah.
epics definitely deserve to be seen on the big screen. This is something to see on the big screen, preferably on a weekend if you could see it with as many people as possible, because as we get into later, audience reaction on this is just fantastic.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, I even waited till Wednesday after, and it was still plenty of people there. And they
Oh
were
no!
cheering and
I
reacting.
suggested going after the weekend, and my husband about had a heart attack.
Yeah,
And
because I knew that there was going to be spoilers all
And
week.
and nobody did. And thankfully, his parents took our daughter, and we were able to go see it on Sunday evening.
Which I didn't know.
Which that was a very packed house.
Yeah, I didn't know that the Russos actually put a spoiler embargo, which as of today, on Monday, today, the embargo is lifted. So when we get to our spoiler section, we are not breaking any Russo brother rules.
We're not breaking any rules.
No.
It's no holds bar.
Which I
Is it worth seeing? Yes, I think it's worth seeing, and I think I'm not spoiling anything by saying that they've now revealed that this is the end of what they're now calling the Infinity Saga. So this is the ending chapter. This is the
an
So
end game,
the end
if
game,
you will.
would you say?
End game,
End book.
if you will.
So if just on that alone, even if the movie sucked, I would say go see it. But it doesn't.
But it doesn't.
No,
No,
it
does not.
totally doesn't.
So definitely go see it. Johnny, where would you put the story? Where would you if you had to give it a? Let's just do the old A, B, C, D. Grade.
Yeah, if we had to do a grade, definitely serviceable. Like, it goes above kind of what, as we get into later with some of the plot details about where it goes, it goes a little beyond your standard run-of-the-mill action comic book fare. So I'd give it about B+.
B plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a B. I think it's only a B because they're trying to fit so much in 3 hours. It's really, they could probably do a 6-hour movie here if they really wanted
They
to.
technically did. It's Infinity War and then Endgame. So
No, that's true.
I kind of feel like they could have done the Harry Potter route and broke it up into 2 movies.
they did.
No. They could have broken Endgame into 2 movies. Granted, people would have flipped their freaking lid if they made them wait.
Yeah, don't
but,
give Disney any ideas. They would have done that then.
But you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
could have done an
I'm
hour
not-
and a half.
I'm not crazy about the whole part 1, part 2 thing. I just never have been.
No, like,
it doesn't serve me. I don't know. That's just me. That's my own.
I mean,
personal
but
think
like you say, they're trying to shove so much into this movie
yeah, they are.
that they could have legitimately broke it into 2 movies.
So
yeah, I
where-
think Hunger
okay.
Games and Twilight kind of killed that idea.
So where's your grade then?
My grade is not from like a superhero comic booky fan type person.
Okay.
My grade comes from like seeing all the MCU movies in the theater.
Yeah, that's me. I don't have much comic book knowledge.
So my comic book knowledge comes from him over here.
And I'm
So
about moderate
alert.
at best.
Yeah.
About moderate at best. I don't, have
you're getting
back
comic
issues.
books for our daughter. So
Yes, I am.
yeah, okay. My story grade probably would be an A minus.
Okay.
Because I very much enjoyed it, and there's a lot of there's comic, there's drama, there's like all this stuff that's wrapped into this 3-hour humongous like
Epic.
roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
and it's just wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
A
cheered
minus.
up a little bit at the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought a box of tissues, an entire box of.
Yeah, I tagged you in a picture where it was, a picture of like just Steph going into the theater with a box of tissues and saying she brought the essentials for Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went with Ank, and Ank was making fun of me. Actually, Ank, by the way, Ank is sick.
Yeah.
We wish him well. Hopefully he gets better. Get better there, buddy.
Feel better.
And thank you for the graphics.
And thanks for the graphic package, yes, as always. Excellent job, as always, Mr. Ankenbauer. But yeah, he was making fun of me because he's like, "Are you crying?" No, it's allergies, dude. Allergies. I like, little at the end.
Men
Get
cry.
over it.
Men cry.
Get over it.
I don't cry, damn it. I'm
Not
slower.
everything has to be Brian's song.
Oh Lord.
Oh, good lord! Did you really compare me to Brian's song?
No.
Really? Just that's like the rule. I guess the only time men are allowed to cry in a movie.
That's Brian's song.
Or Field of Dreams.
Not
Take your pick.
Not Marley and Me.
Don't blow that movie.
Moving on.
Anyway,
Moving on.
okay, so let's move on to performance grades. What do you think, Steph? What are your,
Like who am I?
we're
Well,
talking
just
about
like,
the cast in
given
general.
the acting and the cast overall, their performances.
I say solid A. I mean, I thought everybody stayed within their characters, and it was good for me. Yeah.
Just
I don't.
overall,
Yeah. No.
look like you're trying to
I'm
find
trying
a
to
word.
process things, we gotta.
Thor was kind of whiny though.
Whoa,
I love
I'll
Thor
get
in
it.
this. He
I'll
was
get
comic
into
relief.
Thor
Thor was
later.
fantastic,
Thor was
but-
fantastic.
I'm not trying
but
to
that's
spoil
He was
anything by saying
kind of
that,
whiny.
But when hasn't he been? Think of all the way back in part 1.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
So it's
All right.
fitting. Just now he's entertaining when he's
Sorry,
whiny.
sorry it took me a minute because I was like, I know there was somebody that was kind of, but yeah.
Okay, John.
You know what? For this, I'll give it an A- because this, we actually, instead of seeing everybody continually doing the same thing with the characters, they actually had a chance to give each of their characters arcs. They gave them a finale and ending for each of them, and for what they did, as we get into, as we're all going to talk later, how they cap off all of their individual character arcs. They did it all very well. I mean, it's a very talented cast.
Yeah.
And they are very good. And I'm excited to see where a lot of them go after this MCU Phase
Yeah.
4. Because,
Well,
that could...
some are staying, some aren't, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But, no, it's just they're a talented group of actors. I mean, by the time they got to the end, I was like, wow, they just employed half of Hollywood in this movie.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But, yeah, like
when
they're...
you get right down to it.
Yeah,
When you think
so
about it.
they all did great, and I think they deserve a lot of recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'll actually give the performances, I think, a better grade than I do the story grade. Yeah, I think the performances are more closer to an A. I really like Robert Downey Jr. in this. I love Thor in this, and if you haven't seen it yet, you'll know why.
We'll get into Thor later.
Yeah, we'll get into Thor. I like Cap in this. Cap was still Cap, but
Let's not forget Robert Downey Jr.
Well, what about Natalie?
Well, that's what I was talking about with Iron Man. Yeah.
Iron Man, yeah.
What about Scarlett?
Scarlett Johansson was good. We'll talk about her later. I've got, just because of...
She was kind of somberish, but yeah.
Yeah. She was obviously affected. I really liked the fact that they took Hawkeye and actually made him Ronin, which was badass.
But they
finally made him badass.
But they never called him that.
Because I think one vowel changes and then I think he's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. He went from being Robin Hood to a samurai that can kick everybody's ass.
He became the thief instead of the guardian.
Yeah, pretty much. And I like that much better.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, I did too.
Yeah.
And that was it's an arc.
And
that,
by the way, we're not trying to spoil anything here. We're just, that's pretty much known.
You see him in the trailer. If you don't see him,
he's
you don't
the
know who
guy
that
in the
is
trailer.
wiping the sword off in the trailer. Then
that's him.
That's him. But yeah, no, it's an arc that he takes during the I think it's the Civil War series. Like he essentially throws off being Hawkeye and just becomes an avenging Ronin, which he takes up the whole the definition of a Ronin, which is a samurai without a master. And since he caps he does distance himself from S.H.I.E.L.D., he basically is just his own man.
He's a vigilante. He's a strictly vigilante. Well, we gotta stop. We're gonna give it away.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the comics.
Yeah.
So,
final question for the non-spoiler review. Two more. I'm sorry. Action sequences. I'll give that an A. That's a no-brainer.
Oh my God, yeah.
Not an A plus.
When we get to the end,
it kept me going.
That's
the last
an A. It's
8
a solid
minutes of the movie.
It just kept going. Yeah.
It belongs in the pantheon of great movie battle scenes.
He's bringing out the big words.
Yeah, it does.
Damn right I am.
No, well, I mean, just the sheer scale and how many years are invested and how many different characters that
are
invested in.
How many movies? How many,
And that's the thing. That's the biggest thing about this movie is it earns everything that it does.
It does.
We have literally grown up with this
this 11-year odyssey. Yeah.
Okay, 11 years of our lives was spent at a movie theater.
Well, it's
watching these people.
It's very much like Game of Thrones, not to cross genres, but we've done the same thing. We've been doing it with Game of Thrones, and we've been doing it with these guys at the exact same time.
What they've managed to do is they managed to take episodic TV stuff and put them in a movie.
Movies, and then link them up.
Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I think we're all in agreement, though, the action sequences, A+.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt. Okay, last question. What stuck with us the most by the end? Wow. I'll think about that for a minute. Johnny, I'll let you take the lead.
I don't know how much about the end we can talk about.
Yeah, we got to
kind of...
So what stuck with you?
Let's just keep it in general theme, general feeling.
Maybe. And I think I'll, go back to what I was saying about the fact that every emotional impact that hits in this movie, it hits because this series has earned over those 11 years. And it's completely aware of the journey that it's taken us on in these 11 years. Like, it's known, it goes all the way back to the first Iron Man movie, and it is aware of every single beat that every movie took along the way. And I think that's the thing that stuck with me most by the end, was by the time we got to the end, we have this major cast of about at least 30 Marvel heroes that some of us, like when we first heard they were making movies of, were like, how the hell are they going to make a movie out of Guardians of the Galaxy?
I didn't know what Guardians was.
I didn't even know what half
No
of
one
them
knew
were.
what they were. We're just like,
I didn't know what Doctor Strange was.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I knew what Strange was, but that was about it. I mean,
and now they're some of our most beloved characters we've seen in a movie, and they knew how to make each of their presences resonate with everyone. So that's what stuck with me the most, and that's why I say this is the first thing that on the big screen that's really felt like an epic.
Yeah, because it is. It's a saga. I mean, it's literally it's a 21 film saga.
You might say this would be the Return of the Jedi of the series.
In a way, yeah, very much so. Except that it's not as much, and I don't want to give away anything, but there's not as much finality to it. Like, Jedi wraps everything up with a nice little bow and ties it tight. This one, leaves things open.
Slightly open,
to keep
yeah.
going.
Very slightly, as
Which-
much as
that-
episode 6
Which
can
kind
going
of
into
that
Force
is what
Awakens.
stuck with me most
Yeah.
towards the end of the movie is the unwrapped package at the end, because it's kind of like am I allowed to say this? It's like kind of like a changing of the guard.
You can that might be stretching it a bit, but
Right,
yeah,
stretching.
that
Well, let's not
You've
elaborate
already said
anymore.
it, so it is what
Let's
it is.
not elaborate anymore.
Yeah, let's not go any further.
Okay.
You're,
So, yeah, my feeling is the circle is now complete. Like Johnny's saying, and to throw my Star Wars reference, I always have to.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we really have come full circle, and it's been a great ride, and I'm ready for the next ride.
Yeah.
To begin, you know. So, and as
Whenever that may be.
and as some people that I've seen on Facebook, I'm part of some groups, some comic book groups, and they're like, they're just now getting to the good stuff, and I'm like, really?
Just now.
Just now?
yeah.
you
21,
kidding me?
21 movies later. Okay.
Okay, then.
Well, you got to
All right.
realize there's
You're
about
right.
like 50, 60 years of comic book lore
Right,
to
to
this
pull
as well.
from.
And
so-
unfortunately, Stanley will not be here for.
Yeah, you know, this really is the this
We
is
miss you. We love you.
that's the other thing. That's Stanley's last cameo, and
Yeah.
it really is a the
It's a nice
bookend.
one. It's a
And
nice one.
it's end of an era.
It is. It
To,
is.
to me, my favorite will
It's a
still be
legend.
his cameo in Into the Spider-Verse, because I thought that was a perfect
Yeah.
way to end him off with that.
But Excelsior and all that good stuff. So,
Yes.
all right. So from this point on, I usually play my nice little spoiler alert wave file, but it has been some
Pirated,
people around here do
confiscated.
not like it. Some
Confiscated.
people over here don't like it.
Not
Yes,
me.
Jeff.
Not
No.
me. No.
Somebody that
I've never been
Because he
here.
was pointing in your direction.
I have never been here.
Somebody gives me two people, in fact, give me a lot of shit for it, and one of them's here. So I won't play it. So from this point forward, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, pause this video podcast,
We'll do a Riff Tracks pause.
go watch the movie, and unpause us when you come back 3 hours later.
But the embargo
If
has
you're
been
awake.
lifted.
If you're awake.
If you're, well, they'll be awake. Are you kidding?
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, come on. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Here we go.
Beware the
So-
plot description there.
You want me to
not-
read the plot
Do
description?
not read the plot description I put on that.
Okay, we will
No.
not.
Because, in fact, read the last line on there before the next section. I said, this is why Wikipedia will always be amusing to me.
Okay, copy.
I was
Yep.
wondering if you caught that.
Started to. Oh, yeah. That would have been bad. That would
That
have
was
been Ron.
actually on their Wikipedia page.
That would have been a Ron Burgundy moment right there.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I think I should probably catch you.
Willem Briggs reads everything that he's on the property. I'm glad you stopped me there. That would have been bad.
Some of which you should not read.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yes,
We're
you know.
explicit and everything,
You
but
know.
Yeah, it's
that
funny
might
'cause-
piss some people off.
Well, as I was writing the script for this, I was going to Wikipedia to kind of like look through all the plot lines, and that was the first section of it. Don't worry, I didn't put anything else in there. That was the only thing.
I know. I'm just getting rid of it, so I don't read it.
But the funny thing is like it was the first paragraph of their plot summary, and then I go back about an hour later and it's gone. So somebody put it in there and already deleted it.
Nice.
And that's why I said
Our
this,
Wikipedia. You
this is
can
why
put
it
your
will
own
always
shit
amuse
online.
me. That's why it'll always amuse me, and why you should never use it as a scholastic reference.
Now it's just scholastic now.
No.
All right. So it looks like let's talk about Hawkeye giving into his run and his dark side, if you will.
Yeah.
He's lost. I mean, the first scene we see in the whole movie is him and his family, and he's teaching his daughter how to shoot an arrow, trying to get her to follow in his footsteps, essentially. And it just
His boys are out playing catch.
and it just gets, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and we get to see their ashes, but he doesn't. So
Yeah.
to
Well,
him, they just
I
disappeared.
don't think he realizes what is blowing
No,
away. He
he
has no
didn't.
idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he sees it. He just has no idea what it is.
I mean, here's a guy who had everything. He had his wife, 2 kids, the farm.
3 kids.
3 kids, I'm sorry, and the farm and everything, and suddenly they're gone.
Yeah.
They're 1 second gone the next. So yeah, I can totally see why he went and lost it.
Well, because that's what we've been able to establish since Age of Ultron was like how much. If anything, that's the most important thing I think in Age of Ultron was just how much his family was important to him.
His family was
his family was his world.
absolutely important. Yeah.
You know, and gives our definition as to why he wasn't around for Infinity War, and also shows kind of where his arc as a character is going to.
Well, if you notice when they open up to him, you see that ankle
bracelet
the
on.
ankle bracelet on, so that S.H.I.E.L.D. knows where he is.
Yeah, he's part of the Accord or
Yeah.
whatever, because he broke it or whatever. But yeah, so you can definitely see they remind you where he's been and how much he has lost. And I don't blame him one bit. I mean, if I had the skills he had and somebody took away my family like that,
Literally like that.
literally like that, I would do the same. I don't know. What do you got?
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's
If somebody touched our daughter, I would freaking lose my mind.
Yeah. And how badass was he as Ronin, though? I mean, just
Oh my God.
That's the.
I love the mohawk.
yeah.
The mohawk was fantastic. I loved it.
Probably the only time it's ever looked good on a guy. Or?
Hell yeah! And it
But
wasn't.
you're-
And it wasn't even the like spiky. It was like
It wasn't
you
the
know, just
frohawk.
it was perfect. I love Jeremy Renner.
But yeah, I was gonna say
I
to
was gonna
preface,
say,
she's
sounds
a big
like
Jeremy Renner
I-
fan
got a
too.
crush.
I am a
She is-
huge Jeremy Renner
ever
fan,
since,
and have
was
been
it 28
since the
weeks
beginning.
later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you don't have much of a chance if he shows up, John.
No, he
Well,
doesn't.
there's a few, and I gave you a chance to meet one of them.
Yes, but I had to work, so
Yeah,
you know.
you took a pay cut that day. Literally.
Chemo patients, Hollywood. That's how it works.
Higher daily pay
No.
rate. Anyway.
All right. So let's talk about Thanos' first death, which comes really quick and is strangely satisfying, even though we're surprised by it. Even though you're like, okay, well, that's the movie, and 15
Good
minutes
night, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah.
I found it satisfying. I was loved that it was Thor just had enough of his bullshit and literally just chopped his head off.
Well, like he said,
Yeah.
and they even asked him, "What did you do? Why did you do it?" He went, "I went for the head this time,"
yeah,
and just walks out.
yeah. I mean, once
He's-
they found out there's nothing he can do.
Oh, yeah, that was
back.
his
He's like,
end
fuck
point.
it,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. I mean, by this point, he's lost his brother. He's lost his planet. He's lost
A
his
big
eye.
chunk of
He's
his
lost
people.
everything, and he's been wanting to find some way to make up for that and save them. And again, this is what I say about, like, their arcs go so well. Like, that's his last chance to actually be a hero again that he wants to be, and he still can't. So, yeah, he's pissed, and he just takes his head right off.
He's savage too. I mean,
Yeah.
just out of nowhere, just whoop, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it was funny to watch. What's her name, mourn too. That took me back a little bit. I guess
Nebula.
Nebula.
Nebula, yeah.
She cried and everything.
Well, because he actually
Well, that was
because
her father.
his last line to her is, maybe you were always the daughter, or maybe I was too hard on you, or something like that.
Yeah.
You were always the daughter. I won't.
yeah,
gone
mid sentence.
Like that was she finally got some moment with her dad that she'd always wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and before he could even finish the thought, or before they can move on with it,
He was killed.
He was killed.
yeah,
Well, either way you look at it, that was her father. Whether
Yeah.
he did a lot of things to harm her and make her crazy and stuff like that.
Oh, he
that
literally
is-
took her apart piece by piece.
That is still her father.
Yeah.
You know,
But
any
she-
way you look at it, a girl is going to have some place in her heart for her father.
And even still, though, she always felt she came second to Gamora,
Yeah.
and that's why she hated her sister. And yeah.
now, is it just me, or is it because he's so wounded already that they easily defeat him? Is that why?
I think
Because
it's-
he's
I
not
think
nearly as badass as he
he's
was.
not
in the
nearly
first
as-
movie.
He's had two, like, blasts from the gauntlet.
Yeah.
You know, the first from the snap and the second from him.
And
Destroying.
remember
Yeah.
the gamma radiation goes up through. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was just kind of
But then to look at it, you've also got Captain Marvel there too,
true,
which
but
Yeah.
I'll get into that later.
yeah, I want to. We need to talk about that because I need to talk about the source of her power, and I don't understand how it's so amplified. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
So let's move on. So 5 years pass. So essentially, they give up. By the way, they've got Tony. They brought Tony back from space before all this. Tony doesn't even go with them when
Yeah,
they.
Captain Marvel actually sees the ship.
Ship.
She brings it back.
Yeah.
You know.
And let's face it, Tony is pissed at Captain Marvel too, or Captain America.
Yeah. Because where were you?
He's like, you were right. You said we would lose together. Well, guess what? We lost together. You know, he basically throws his own line back in his face, which is all the way back from Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Even. So it's kind of crazy. And I thought it was a good use of the movie too, to kind of
Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks in this movie. That's why I say everything in this movie feels like it's earned because it's aware of every single line from every single movie.
Yeah, it is. They do a good job with it, like you said, callbacks. But yeah, so 5 years pass, and essentially, we see a rat turn on the time machine and the
Controlled by Squirrel Girl.
turn on the time machine. Thank God she was not in that movie. A rat turns on the controls and lets Ant-Man back out of the quantum verse, where he's been stuck since the end of Ant-Man 2 or Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It's our post-credit scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right, where he's trying to get, he's picking up the quantum force or whatever, the particles, and
hidden particles,
and he's for him he's only been in there 5 hours, but apparently 5 years have passed since. So and then I like how he shows up at the door and he's like, "Hey, remember me? I'm Ant-Man. Remember me? Hey,
Help."
He's like, help. Oh, before that too, I thought there was a really nice little scene where he's just, when he finds out about the snap and find out what happened,
trying to find his
and
daughter,
he's wanting to see that his daughter's okay. His daughter's not on like this memorial wall they have.
Yeah,
finds her house,
but
and she's grown up. But he's on the wall. Yeah,
he's on the wall.
So yeah,
and do we know what happened to
now.
his ex-wife? I mean, they didn't show her name.
I just assumed
it's an ex,
or the cop.
It's an ex.
I assumed. Well, she doesn't look old enough to live by herself.
No,
because only 5 years have passed. So she's probably 16, 17 tops. I guess. But yeah, I just assumed she was there, or she's alive.
Do you want it longer than 3 hours for that explanation, honey?
Sorry.
It was just easier not to spend the money, I guess.
But it's a nice little moment he has, like reuniting
with his daughter. Yeah, it's cool. Very emotional. But it's I don't know. What do you guys think about the whole time lapse and how they present the quantum realm?
I thought that was kind of cool, and it gets used later on in the movie. So I feel like it was.
Yeah, we're in our spoiler territory now, so we can.
Yes, I can spit it out. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So yes, I think the way they used it and the way they explain it is pretty awesome.
I love how they go to Tony. And how much Tony has changed. Like him and Pepper have married. They have a kid. He's moved. He's actually able to move on. And
he has moved on.
Despite he's still grieving, but he's
left the city.
He's not even in anything technical. He's in a cabin out in the woods by a lake.
Yeah.
He's left the city. He's
But he is still working though. I mean, he made Iron Lady or Woman. Or
he
whatever.
made Pepper's outfit.
It's it's the rescue outfit.
Yeah,
is what it was
essentially.
Yeah,
but it was an outfit for her, and so he's still meddling. It's not like he's given up completely.
No, I don't think But he's left the city. He's kind of went from this fast-paced, crazy life to a cabin on the lake and quiet. And
yes, he's
because
he's not the Tony Stark. He's not I am Iron Man.
Well, because before, like even with the very first Iron Man, like he became Iron Man because he felt guilty for all of the weapons that he created and sold that were being used on black markets and for war profiteering, and he created Iron Man as a way to make amends for all that, and that's everything Tony has been, is just wanting to make amends, and now there's no more amends left to make for him.
And since Avengers 1, he's been on this crazy countdown trying to protect the world from Thanos the whole time, and or at first he doesn't even know what the threat is. He just knows there's an existential threat.
Well, like if you remember from the first Avengers, he's the one that goes up and risks his life with that nuclear bomb,
and he sees the rest of the army up there too. Yeah. So I mean, it's so really he's been on a countdown from Avengers 1 to Avengers 4 for this whole thing to come full circle. And it's funny how they eventually he solves time travel. I like that scene too.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
They move particles such and such, and then it model successful. And he's just like
99.94% success.
It almost reminded me, not quite, but it was just like when he did one of these, I was like 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
I was thinking a more elaborate. What was it? It reminded me of the photo scanning scene from Blade Runner.
Okay.
Where he's like zooming in, wait, go back. What's this? Wait, pan right. Give me harder on that. And
Have
then-
you seen Blade Runner?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay,
I have a hard
I
time with
know
that
it's
one.
gonna be lost on him. Yeah.
I do.
It was a hard set for Steph too,
Yeah.
like the first time around. But then I come home one day. And,
I think I've watched it 5 times.
Yeah, I came home and she had it on the TV. I was like, "Oh, you're watching it again?" She's like, "Yeah, it's my 3rd time." It's like, "It's your what?" I was like, "It's really good." But anyway,
But,
back to Avengers.
Back to Avengers. And when they can't get Tony to, of course, Tony refuses at first. But why they do, they switch to, well, it's the other big brain out there, and it just happens to be
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk.
Which,
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah, no, it's great because that was actually a form of the Hulk that
In the
was in
90s.
the comics.
Yeah, I
Well, not
heard.
even in the 90s. Like, it's just, he had a bunch of different personas. There was Red Hulk, Green Hulk, Gray Hulk, and Professor Hulk, where he actually merges both his rage and his brains together.
brains and brawn together anyway. But when he goes to try to rage, he's like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And he's like pushing things. I'm like, that's not the fucking Hulk.
Nah, it's-
that was
it's a
the one
different
problem
Hulk.
I had in the movie. I was like, I don't like this guy.
I thought it was funny. It was,
I like Rage Hulk better.
I think he was. I
He's
think
funny.
he was comic relief too.
He was,
you know what?
but
And
you had Thor for that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like it's essentially a harkening back to the comedic tones of Ragnarok.
It is.
You know, because
love
it's Hulk.
that movie.
It's Hulk setting up for what we're about to see
Yeah.
with New Asgard and their leader of beer belly
Thor.
Thor.
It is.
That was
And it leads in.
friggin'
It
awesome.
leads in well. And it's hilarious.
Oh my god! I lost my shit.
Every
because
woman
I heard
probably was like, "Yeah, ah!"
it was a collective sensation of about millions of women having a direction right there.
all these
I was
soccer
like,
moms.
He looks
going,
like me.
No!
I love the memes going around right now where it's like 11 years ago, I'm gonna work out and look just like Thor. Today, I achieved it.
That's awesome.
I did like the beard, though. I will admit, the Odin beard.
He looked
kicking-
and his hair. It looked like Rastafarian had not been washed in days, and I'm like,
It looked like a
No!
real like Norse Viking full on.
You know what's
I
funny
know.
though? I kept expecting him to like lightning to hit him and to go back to his old form, but they kept it. He kept
That's what
the
we
beard
the
did.
whole
the
film,
whole
the
film.
whole- except towards the end.
Towards the end, even when he gets on the Guardian ship, he's still the
No,
same.
no.
Well, because
no,
he's fully clothed though. I wondered.
No.
He looks like he still has the beer belly to me. I could be wrong. I've only
That,
seen
that,
the
that
movie
is up for
one
debate.
time.
Yeah.
Keep looking. No.
Oh, she's figured it out, huh?
She was,
Um,
she
that
was
out,
looking.
huh?
When lightning struck him and like gave him his outfit and whatever, it like trimmed back his hair, braided his beard, and like he lost the beer belly.
Oh, so he did get a Superman
Kind of.
transformation.
He
Okay.
did.
Oh, I see. I didn't see that.
I think when his outfit came back on, it was kind of like Mr. Incredible. But, like, you know, it's
Sucked
just
everything back in.
everything back in.
So it's like Spanx for men.
Spanx.
So his lightning Spanx just
Yeah.
came right down.
Went from whoa to whoa.
See, that's why it looks like he has like the bigger posture. It's all pushing.
Yes, it's all shoving up. Yeah.
I did like Thor, though. I really did.
No,
I
He was
Thor-
hilarious.
did not like the
God,
Hulk,
that
but I
was-
like Thor in this one.
He
know,
was
no,
he was
Thor was
whiny,
my-
but he was hilarious.
It was
He was Ragnarok.
He
of
felt
Thor.
guilty. I know.
the only
But
thing. The only thing I'll take back from the Hulk is it was necessary for him to be that way.
Yes.
Because they could never have gotten Raging Hulk to do the
the snap.
snap.
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah.
it made sense after the ending, but I was still like, God, that's not Hulk to me. That's
No,
just
but
not
I'll
Hulk.
tell you from personal experience. I'll tell you that is Mark Ruffalo
Yes.
Yeah.
or Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo, however you say his last name.
Ruffalo. Yeah.
Ruffalo, yeah.
But you talked about earlier how Captain America kind of gave up a little bit.
He did. Yeah.
There was Natalie who sat at the Avenger. What? How,
She basically
compound?
became the head of Shield Avengers.
She's
after
kind of
that,
she's
And
taken over. as,
basically that was her life for 5 years, was trying to find how to bring these people back.
Well,
that was
essentially
one
keeping
of it, yeah,
order.
but she's also
Yeah.
keeping order. She's the she's become Samuel L.
Nick
Jackson.
Fury,
Yeah,
yeah.
She's Nick Fury.
Yeah, she's Nick.
You know, she basically would take, Captain Marvel was out patrolling the cosmos, making sure everything was still
Right.
in order.
And they're
You
try-
had people on Earth that were still trying to keep things in order.
And they're trying to track down Ronan the whole time.
Yeah,
too.
that
And
is.
And she's like, he's like, are you sure you want me to find him? She's like,
Well,
yeah.
again, they're not throwing out that name though. They're not even throwing out
They're
Hawkeye.
not,
no,
They're just
but-
talking. They're talking about him in general, and
She keeps calling him Clint.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She keeps referring to him as Clint.
First name.
He was like, hey, we had an incident. It looks like Clint's work.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's just randomly going after bad guys as he picks them.
Yeah.
Essentially.
yeah, because Rhodey was the one that told her that.
Yeah, it was.
Because they've got that
The holograph.
the holograph telephone line
It's
Wi-Fi
Skype.
thing.
It's holographic Skype.
Is it holographic Skype?
Well,
yeah,
it's a-
FaceTime for
You know,
hologram.
it's what S.H.I.E.L.D. called Nick Fury on in the first
Yeah, I know.
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, and then at the end of all that, you see Ant-Man going, "Hey, hello," and Cap's going,
Is this
"How
an old
old is
message?
this?"
It's like, is this an old message?
Nope, it's the front door.
We kind of already talked about Stark and Steve, but we can. John, do you want to expand on that any about how Stark blamed Cap for?
Stark blamed Cap. There was always kind of the rivalry that we saw with them from the very first Avengers, and it came from, oh, my dad always talked about you as being this great hero,
Yeah.
And again, it's Tony's resentment towards him not being in a higher place than his dad.
That,
he saw in his dad.
that and meeting your hero isn't always what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did he really have time with his dad when
didn't.
his dad
He
passed
never
away?
did.
Which is also kind of cool about this movie too. Is that whole? We'll get to that.
We'll
probably
get to
later.
that. That's
But-
later on down the road. But no, like it was.
I
They always-
think he was jealous of Captain for being able to spend time
Right.
with
And then-
Tony's dad.
Yeah, and then you had all the events of Civil War too, and then you find out that it was Bucky that killed his parents. So that, of course, definitely separates the wedge between the two of them.
Well, and he is stirred by the emotions of losing Spider-Man and losing Peter Parker. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was another neat thing that I thought because
it's kind of like a father-son thing.
because
mentor.
you see him as a father to his daughter, but then you also see him as a father father figure
Kind of
to
mourning
Peter,
his
and
son.
he's still
Yeah.
mourning the person he wished he could help.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, even when he comes back, he's like, "I lost the kid. I lost the kid." It's
that's definitely weighing on him heavily.
so
But,
I
yeah,
understood
it's-
where he was coming from. I knew that was going to come out. A little bit of backlash.
And I think both of those, like, it's what really set this movie. Is like it shows to you that both Iron Man and Captain America are the emotional centers of the MCU.
Oh yeah.
And this movie definitely solidifies that. And as we get to the end, we'll find we'll talk more about how their stories coming full circle bring this great story to an end.
Yeah. But let's talk about what I had a little bit of an issue with this, and believe me, I gave it up. I gave it up for dispense of disbelief and move forward. Otherwise, my eyes were going to go cross-eyed, as
Austin Powers
would
did.
say. But the time heist and how they explain time travel in this movie, and how different things happen in this movie, and it doesn't really fit that theory to me. So basically, they are saying that you can go back, but the current timeline continues to go forward. So time continues to move forward no matter what you do in the past. Essentially, you can move things from the past to the present.
So Back to the Future was bullshit.
Exactly.
That's the line they have.
Now-
Yeah, because
That was so great.
well, that's the thing that's neat is we've had different.
It's actually the Bill and Ted time travel theory in a
right.
way.
It is.
Right.
It is kind of like that. Which,
Yes.
and in that respect, it still works.
Yes, but I have a problem because when Cap, and I don't think do you have this later in the notes about Cap going back, and
That's
At the end.
We could talk about that in the end.
we can talk about that in the end.
Yeah, we can talk.
But
about
I have a
that.
problem with that because
Yeah.
of what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it doesn't fit this theory.
Okay.
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 We'll discuss that.
We'll
a
discuss
little
it later.
yeah. But no,
But-
what I thought was
Put a
neat
pin in
about
it.
it is, for God knows how many years since time travel was a plot device in movies, there have been two schools of thought. The first is you can go back in the past, change the past, and it creates an alternate timeline, and then you return to the past that's affected by those events in the affected past.
Isn't that what Tilda Swinton's character said?
That is. But there's also what I call the 12 Monkeys theory,
Oh, jeez.
which is even if you go back in the past is already written, and you're just going back to put into place the sequence of events that gets you to that spot, which is what made everything in 12 Monkeys fated to be.
All right, Mr. Three-Eyed Raven. The past is already written. The ink is
But
dry.
what I thought was neat about this movie is it said you can subscribe to both schools of thought in time travel, in that the past events are written, but as long as you return back to that time and put the things right when you left them,
Which is the Bill and Ted.
yeah, which is the
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
was it Bill's father's keys?
Yeah.
Or Ted's father's keys.
Remember the garbage can. Remember the garbage can.
I cannot wait for that sequel. I'll be honest.
I can't wait for it either. I'll be the first. I'll probably go opening night for that movie. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of a neat thing, which is why when we were talking about story earlier, I said I think it went a bit beyond what most movies would have put into time travel. Because by doing that with time travel, they haven't thought about how things are going to end, or how this would be affected. And with any time travel movie, it's gonna have some question marks.
And it doesn't take just a mild dive or a tiptoes through time travel. No, they take a deep ass dive into time travel.
Many times, yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Essentially what their plan is, they're planning a time heist, and they want to go back to events where they're aware that each Infinity Stone is before Thanos gets it,
And try to get
them
stones.
before, right? So, and you're right. That's something that. Oh God, what is Tilda Swinton's character in Doctor Strange?
I have no idea, dude.
Or the ancient one.
Oh
Sure.
Yeah, the ancient one.
Yeah, the ancient one. Yeah.
Basically tells her.
Which is interesting. I like the whole. If you take this stone away, it's going to create an alternate
That's what I'm saying.
timeline. It's going to create dark forces.
Those problems over there.
That's a movie right there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and we'll
And
talk
then-
about that
but
later.
then-
Probably.
That's where we get into the Spider-Verse.
But
So we get the
then-
multiverses.
Yeah. But then you have Mark Ruffalo's character, the Hulk, showing her and says, no. If you stay within all of this, then the timeline stays the same, and that
like if you
third
return-
and that string goes away.
But she doesn't agree with him until she hears that it was Strange's idea, and that's when she figures out, okay, because Strange has seen
Strange
everything.
is the best. Was the best of us.
So I'm the one that's making the mistake. It's not until she hears that she
Right.
agrees. But
Right.
yeah, you're right though. But yeah, But to me, I'm like, that's a movie.
Yeah.
That's a movie. That's like, with them putting that, and I'm not trying to jump ahead, but that whenever them putting that each one of those stones back is a movie. If there's a dark force that has been released every time the stone was taken from the timeline, movie.
Unless it's brought back exactly at that split second.
Which it's supposed to be.
But it doesn't have to be. You could have an entire saga called putting the Infinity Stones back or something. They're returning the Infinity Stone.
Return of the Infinity Stone.
Or something. I'm serious.
Return of the Infinity.
You could put
jeez.
Strange. You could have Strange in it. You know, we already
His
know
little
one
friend.
character be in it,
Yeah.
and that's how they could continue to use that character too. But anyway,
Yeah.
I
Moving
digress.
So as we get to the time heist, where they're gonna get, pardon me for like not knowing the exact names of the stones, but the Tesseract and Loki's scepter are gonna be during the events.
Mind Stone.
Yeah, at the end of the first Avengers.
Yeah.
So it's essentially after Loki's caught, they try to find an exact time they can go back to get those. In order to get, the Power Stone from Guardians of the Galaxy right before Star-Lord goes to steal it from the temple.
Yeah.
Right.
And what was it the other one? What was the other one that the other... Oh, the Soul,
Soul
Stone.
Stone.
Soul Stone's the big one.
We'll get to that one in a minute.
Yeah.
And
I was
the
gonna
other...
say, really? You don't? Okay.
Then they head to Asgard. Thor and Rocket head to Asgard to get the whatever that Chaos Stone, the red one.
Yeah, that's
Ether.
Ether.
That's
Yeah.
the red
Yeah.
ether. Yeah.
And there's a nice
Dark
moment
ether,
Thor
red
finally
ether.
has with his mom, which I thought that was really well done.
That was.
that was so sweet.
That was actually
Yeah.
a little tearful. I won't say
Yeah.
I got tearful, but this was
it's-
emotional.
Sorry,
moment.
I need some Tums.
She's getting all emotional over here. She's
Yeah.
getting upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Tongue break.
well, it's the middle-aged
Avengers
Tic Tac.
Endgame spoiler review brought to you by Tums. All right.
Brought to you by sudden sound break there. But yeah, and then there's another one before the Soul Stone, where where am I
Time,
drawing
time
blank?
stone, soul stone,
The time
power
stone, yeah,
stone.
because and there's also the time stone
Yeah.
that they were getting
Well,
during the
that's-
Avengers.
That's the ancient
Because
one.
the ancient one was
and
that's
the
what we were
And the
talking about
Hulk.
Thor about.
But
But then let's get to
we'll get to Soul Stone in a minute.
All right.
I want to go off on a tangent just for a
Okay.
second. So let's talk about the Tesseract and let's talk about Loki.
Can we?
Oh
Can
yes,
we really?
please do.
Okay, so Loki
'Cause
gets the
I
Tesseract
freaking lost my mind.
During-
during
yeah.
that whole scene. He takes it and he disappears.
Where is he now?
But they have to go further back in time to get the Tesseract. So if they took the Tesseract from that point of time and they return it to that point of time,
In the 70s, or
he's
wherever.
still gonna he's
still gonna get it.
He's
He's
still
still-
gonna get it and disappear.
Loki still has the Tesseract. Yes.
And then Thanos won't get it later.
But my problem is where does Loki
Unless
go?
that's where Loki got the damn Tesseract when he made it appear out of nowhere in Infinity War.
But where
that's
d-
the catch.
Where does Loki go?
That's the thing.
Because I
And
asked
the
him
only way
that.
the only way this works, in my mind, is if Loki still ends up dying. This just sends him on a little side adventure for a while.
But then when he has that other when he has the Tesseract, he's handing it to Thanos in Infinity War. That would still mean there's a second Loki around.
Would there be?
Yes.
Or is it still the same Loki? Because time continues to move
Well, because
forward. See?
no, because there still have to be two, because we still have the Loki that's going through the events of Thor, Avengers,
But that's
Dark
an old-
World, and all that,
If that's
and Ragnarok, and he's with him and all that.
okay, but there's still that's an alternate timeline then. If that's the case. I'm not trying to get too technical on you, but that would be an alternate timeline.
Unless
Unless he
Still
goes on
thinking.
a little mini adventure somewhere
Yeah,
in between.
you know
and
what?
still ends up back in the Infinity War
honestly,
and
what
killed
we,
by Thanos.
what we really need right now, and Captain Marvel was the movie that made me really think this is necessary. We need a damn chronological history of the Tesseract
Yeah.
throughout the MCU.
Because
Up
I'm a
to
little
now.
fussy. Yeah.
Because between, we have it in the 40s with Captain America.
Yeah.
It disappears, and then we have a research. Like it's in. Wait,
But
sorry.
how-
We did see it like get found by Stark at the end of Captain America. Because this is our discussion during Captain Marvel too. Is like, what happened? Where did it go?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we start out with the Tesseract in the 40s, correct?
Right.
Yes. How does it wind up here?
That's what I'm.
We went through
Because
this
it,
with the Captain
because
Marvel
it
review.
originally came from the blue people or whoever that Odin fought
Yes.
and
The Ice Giants.
who
Yes.
they stole Loki from.
But we figured it out during the Marvel review. Tony Stark's dad, Howard Stark, finds it with
Finds
submarine.
it in the submarine at the end of the first Avengers.
Because remember it's on the plane.
Yes.
The Tesseract sends
sinks
Red
through.
Skull up into space to the Soul Stone.
How did Red Skull get it?
he stole it because S.H.I.E.L.D. had it.
How?
But that is a question. It's like,
How
where
did it
that
wind
start?
up on Earth?
Because it was how it got on Earth, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's-
it was
that's
in the
where-
church thing, remember? They pulled it out. It was,
That's where we
it was
saw it.
being-
because We have
How?
to figure out how it gets to the church.
How?
This
Why
is why,
was it
This
there?
is why we need that timeline of the
Don't know.
Tesseract.
But that's
Yeah.
another movie.
Right.
Why and how was that there
That's
for Red Skull to find?
you know what? I think I have a
that's
solution
why
to
I
all
think
of
it's a
this.
side adventure for Loki going on.
Right.
I think that's where the TV series comes
That's
in.
probably
You know-
where he hid it.
I have a theory. What we need is a 32 short films about Glenn Gould kind of thing.
Only 32.
Well, it's the name of a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's literally 32 short films about the Tesseract, and it
Throughout
shows it
history.
chronologically throughout the series.
That would be fantastic.
Just everybody make a short film about the Tesseract and how it fits into the MCU.
Hey, anybody want to make a short film about the Tesseract?
Do you have
Send us a message.
$50 million to blow for a short film?
Come on.
I just think that's what's got. I think Loki still dies ultimately, but
Well, yeah.
the TV series and the Tesseract sends him on a side adventure through time in space. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, I knew how
And I think
Stark's...
that's what the TV series is.
I knew how Stark's dad got it because it was on the plane.
Yeah, and the plane crashes.
Plane
with
crashes
Cap,
in ice, and it's there.
And the Tesseract falls
No,
out.
the Tesseract
off.
falls out of
Falls
the
off.
plane.
That's right.
Yeah, 'cause
and
he finds it in the
it
ocean.
pinged, and yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But my original question is,
How did it end up on Earth? in
how
that
did
church?
it end up at the church that Red Skull basically essentially demolishes to find.
Yeah, we don't know. That could be an opening to the Loki TV series.
That's
if he goes back
my
in time.
question.
We don't know. But he doesn't have the time stone. He has a Tesseract.
But wasn't the Tesseract found in Ragnarok? Doesn't Loki take it out of the Asgardian temple?
Yeah, after he gets captured by
Right.
Thor and Avengers and takes it back.
Yes.
So at some point, it does exist in Asgard.
Again,
So
Yes.
the Tesseract just needs a little tracking device on it.
the Tesseract
And-
needs a goddamn Wikipedia page so we can know where it's been,
Well,
how it got there, and what the
You know
fuck.
what? Get on Google, start Wikipediaing it.
I think the last time I went on Wikipedia to look for Marvel stuff, it came out bad. So
Okay, anyway.
All right, I've gone
moving
on,
on, because this is what happens when you talk about time travel.
Exactly. Well, it's a good crusade. All right, so let's talk about getting the Soul Stone first. Wow.
I love our little
we're not
note
going to
there.
talk about Tony and his dad.
Oh, is that in there? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and I love that little note
Yeah.
that I had there. Save Loki discussion for the end.
Oh,
I
sorry.
saw that too, and I was like, "Can we?" That's why I was like,
Yeah.
"Can we?"
I'm sorry. I totally blew that. All right, so let's
You
talk.
said you read the script.
I do, but I have a tendency to skip
Cap
on
You
it.
got caught up.
Cap and Tony go back to the '60s,
With our
which
final-
I thought that was fitting for both of them to go back
that
there.
was a nice little.
It was
And
cool. It
we
was.
we see Stan Lee.
His last cameo.
Yeah,
I love the cameo. I really like that Tony gets a moment with his dad,
yeah.
That was a great moment.
and then that final. It's almost like a resolution.
He got to say goodbye.
Yeah, he did before. Well, yeah, and
again,
it was a cool back and forth, and he finds out that his mom is pregnant with him, and that he's got flowers, and he's gonna take it to his mom.
and he tells him, like, I have no idea what to do. I'm terrified right now.
Tony's giving his own father advice on how to raise him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
And it's
the
from,
father has become the son, and the son the father.
Well, because
and-
he has a
and
daughter.
Because he's talking about what he learned from having his own daughter too.
That's the parenting thing.
Oh, and there is one interesting caveat I think we should point out that Tony says amongst all this. He's like, all right, no matter what happens, I have my daughter. I don't want her erased. It's like, so that's how this has to be.
Right, that's why they kept going forward. That's why they don't
It's like,
change.
we just bring them back.
going.
It's like, but we can't undo what
we let 5 years lapse. Essentially,
we let the 5 years happen.
yeah. That's
So which is great, because that was always a big, thing that people were talking about after Infinity War, and it was like, oh well, they're just gonna bring them all back anyway, so all these emotions we're feeling mean nothing. It's like, no. And that's how this movie answered that. It's like, nope, we still earn that. They're gone for 5 years, and their absence is felt, and all that is felt. So that's why I say, like, this movie is very aware of everything.
yeah. All right, So now let's talk about getting
The Soul
the
Stone.
Soul Stone. Boy.
So we get our moment again.
Again, we're wrenched. Our hearts are wrenched again, except this time worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, like, the last time, in order to get the Soul Stone, Thanos had to give up something he really loved,
Which in his
which
case was
his
Gamora.
chair. I mean, Gamora, yes, that's right.
and I knew the minute they said that those two were going off after the Soul Stone, I was like, shit. I knew it. It's gonna be her because he has the family.
Well, no, and
bring back.
that's the thing, because we were talking about this when we left, and he's like, I thought for sure it was going to be Clint.
No, I didn't. I
No,
knew
you
right
thought
away.
for sure it was going to be Clint. I was like, I knew it was going to be Black Widow.
Oh,
Because
really?
Clint had a
'Cause
family.
I said it was going to be Black Widow because it's like she was not about to let him,
She
get his family back and not have him be there.
she's been
Right.
searching for a way to bring people back. This has been her goal since the
Well,
snap.
she even says that, yeah.
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 And so I knew. And I was just like, man, I'm heartbroken. I'm like, so they're going to kill her off and then maybe she gets a movie, maybe. I'm
Well,
like,
see, I
really?
thought it was interesting because they're both saying goodbye to one another, and Clint, Ronan, whatever, Hawkeye, whatever you want to call him, he's like, I don't think we're talking about the same person here. And she goes, no, I don't think we are either. And both of them
Well, what's neat is
want
they
to
don't-
give up their lives
Yeah,
to do that.
They don't
Sure.
just, the other person doesn't just walk away and give their life. No, they're both tripping each
They
other
made
up.
it a
they
battle.
both fall over
Yeah,
the
they did.
ledge. They're both hanging off ropes. And
I mean, they
Yeah.
made this a legit battle till the end.
Well, sure they did. It was drama between two. Although,
this is
if,
the first
if
time
you're Clint, if you're Ronan, Clint, Hawkeye, whatever you want to call him, and you're trying to bring people back and you know it's going to bring your family back, Wouldn't you want to live then? Just saying, being honest.
Okay, as a parent, though, if you knew that you would sacrifice your life to bring back your family,
sure,
though,
but
that's what he's
the
thinking
thing
too.
Is and he says this in the movie. What I've become, I don't want them to know.
Okay.
You know, and I get that. You know, he's killed how
For
many
5
hundreds
years.
of people for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's become the opposite of who he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, he even says that.
I don't know. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate and say I don't know. I might be a little selfish. I might just saying. You know, if I have a chance to see my family again, to get everything back, would I want to sacrifice my life and miss all that? You know. Just
But
saying.
again, it's also him asking someone who is almost as close to him as his family.
yes,
in
that's
Black
their
Widow.
second family. Yeah.
And he would say, "Hey, I want to see my family. Go jump off that rock."
Well, and
You know,
and they
it's
kind
still
of
hard for both of them to say that.
and they kind of make a joke about the whole thing too on their way to what was the name of the planet?
I forget the name of the planet now, but
Yeah,
Volomir or something like that. Anyway,
the Mines of Moria
yeah.
or something. Sure.
so anyway, they kind of make a joke, and Clint looks over at her and goes, "Yeah, this is worse than Beirut, isn't it?"
yeah. Which
And
was
that
funny.
brings it back to Avengers, where they were
Oh no, it was that line where
next to the cop cars.
yeah.
and-
What was that line where they're like, "Who here has done intergalactic space travel?" You know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, so it was man.
That's
that
our
was just
that's our
hard to see.
It was-
first
it-
big
that was our
emotional
first
moment.
big
and our first
rip
big
to
death.
your heart thing.
Well,
yeah.
it was because you're pretty sure they're going to bring people back, but if they don't, man, we've lost yet another one. Yeah, that's
Right.
kind of what I'm thinking.
There's still a few that we've lost that we can't snap back. Like
Yeah.
there's no way we can bring back Vision.
No.
Well, they could still reprogram him, I guess, without the stone. That's what they were trying to do before he died.
Right.
But yeah, the original Gamora they cannot bring back.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little.
Me
we'll get
and
to
John
that
had a
later.
big discussion about that
Okay,
too.
well, we'll
Yeah,
get to it.
that's an end of this discussion
Okay.
because yeah, we still gotta I think keep moving forward.
All right, so the other thing here is how Thanos finds out about everything that's going on in the past.
yeah.
The past Thanos, we should say, finds out everything that's happened through Nebula's robotic interface.
Yeah.
Basically gives her up.
Yeah, it's
Essentially.
essentially like her.
That kind of sucked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it though. I mean, it was a plot device. It was definitely a plot device.
It was a huge plot device.
because if you don't have that interference, then Thanos isn't aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't.
Yeah. No.
And you can
'Cause-
easily.
yeah, because
beat
once
him.
you get the stones back, hey, everyone's back.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
And hey,
I mean, that might bring Thanos to you at that point, but
well, but then
But
Thanos doesn't follow him through time and everything, though, and all that.
yeah.
You know.
He's
Right.
like, I'll let you do all the work, and I'll just come back here.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. It's it was a clever plot. It was a clever way to merge past Thanos
And
make
raise
him
the-
the villain again,
And raise the stakes too.
Yeah.
You know, because now he sees that what he was setting out to do, he was actually successful in. So yeah, he's going to want to continue with that.
Yeah.
And then realize, oh wait, if I'm successful, this still happens. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe out all life.
on the planet.
Yeah, on all planets. So yeah, that's Thanos comes back into play.
Yeah.
Even after such a satisfying death too.
Yeah, it was, but in some ways, I was glad it happened because I was like, we have to have a big bad to fight. They can't
Of course,
just
yeah,
be
it can't just be
finding the stones and
Yeah.
all that. It was cool how they went back in time and had to fight, like Cap fought himself. Or
This can't be
whatever.
Ocean's Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's cool. It's a little bit like Time. What was that movie with the midgets?
The dwarves.
Are you allowed to say midgets?
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. It's
Time-
dwarves.
Dwarves. Yeah. The time. Was it Time Heist? It was Time something. Anyway,
Time Cop?
they had like a map. They had a map of the universe, and they were able to travel through time. Anyway, it was back in the 80s.
I think I know the one you're talking. Time Bandits.
Time Bandits.
Time
Yeah,
Bandits. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
it's a Terry Gilliam movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off course though. I digress.
Oh, let's talk about Terry Gilliam movies too.
Say, Aaron, we'll be proud of you.
Yeah, let's get into the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
No.
Like it?
Let's say we did. we didn't. All right. So let's talk about let's talk about Hawk Snap.
So we got all the stones. We bring them back. We get them into our own little iron gauntlet, which, can fit around a normal arm, or, we can expand it and make
Apparently
it fit
can
inside
be
Hulk's
expanded
arms.
to fit the Hulk arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wonder, because when he does the snap, he takes some serious damage. I mean, it literally eats up his entire arm. His one arm's done.
Well, I mean, it shows off that not just anyone could put on the gauntlet, and, it's not like an immediate wish-granting thing. Like, it takes a lot of energy out of you.
These stones are full of gamma radiation, and he figures, hey, I've been hit with this before. What's another little blast?
And and he's right. He basically loses the ability to use his arm for a while.
Right.
Or is in a sling by the end of the movie. But
because we don't get Hulk during our when we get to it in the end.
It did make me think, though, did the Infinity Gauntlet from the last movie, because it was out of the forge, did it provide more protection than Tony's glove did? And that's why there was more damage to Hulk than there. I mean, don't get me wrong, Thor had his scarring up his face, but
because Thanos, when you saw him on his planet, he had big scars.
I know,
all
and
over
it
him
was
from all
like
of it.
scabs on his face.
And also the side of him too, from where the gauntlet was.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was just wondering if maybe Tony wasn't able to reproduce such a because that's where Thor gets his axe and axe hammer, and all that. And then
but I'm guessing they didn't have enough time to
go back to the forge.
Well, not just go back to the forge, but even study it further, because once everything is snapped back into existence, Thanos' ship just fucking rains down this hellfire on the Avengers headquarters.
Yeah, he does.
And just essentially obliterates it into rubble.
Yeah, they have no time to even see if anybody's back yet or make phone calls.
Well, I mean,
one phone call's made.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But we do see some birds outside come back. We see nature coming back. So we're like, oh, hey, maybe it worked. And then
because Ant-Man goes to the window. He goes, hey, I think it worked. And then
But this sets up probably one of the best final battles. It's a long-ass final battle.
It is.
It's probably 8-10
but
minutes.
it is amazing.
Oh, God, no.
You think it's longer?
It's at least half an hour.
You think so?
Well, because think about it. The sequence of events.
It just went by really quick for me.
You start with, outside, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man are all battling Thanos.
Right.
And then underneath all the rubble, you have Hawkeye, who has the gauntlet, being chased by Thanos's crazy
Minion
aliens, creatures in a red tunnel.
Whatever,
and he's got to run after, got to get away from them, get out. But you also have War Machine, Rhodey, and Rocket trapped under rubble that's quickly flooding, and they're trapped under there. Yeah. And the Hulk too, who he's barely holding anything up.
Well, he's trying to hold up what he can of a level.
Yeah, and essentially levels. A floor of. Of the building.
Floors,
probably multiple floors, yeah. But, you have tiny Ant-Man, right, floating down there trying to get to him. So that's our first sequence, which is nice and exciting.
Oh, not yet. Okay, fine.
You're going to build these things
now you know how I feel.
Oh, my God.
Now you're getting a taste of how I feel.
Oh, I've had it. But, no, that's how... Wait. You gotta build these things up. That's how this movie does it well. It's about build up. Anyway, so welcome to the show. By the way,
anybody want a husband? No, you can have him.
Don't worry, it's coming. You'll be able to just let it.
Yes, you'll be able to
flop it all out there and let the world see it.
Okay.
You're talking to her, not me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so we've got all this stuff building up, and then we get to Cap. Essentially, Iron Man and Thor are taken out in the battle, but then we got Cap with his shield holding Mjolnir, and
which is awesome.
Yeah, holy shit!
That is what everybody has been waiting for.
Because everybody thought, oh, is Cap? I mean, because only those who were worthy may wield the hammer.
The power of Thor, even.
But the power of Thor, yes, the power of Thor.
Again, this goes back to the Age of Ultron, because when Thor had how do you say that again? The hammer, when he had the hammer on the table.
Who's worthy?
Who's worthy?
It moved.
Yeah, and even Thor was like...
And he was like, what?
It's like, whoa.
Well, before he had a chance, I mean, it moved, but then he immediately had to let it go because something distracted him.
Right.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, that's what everyone's like, oh, he's got to be worthy, and then, yeah, he's...
And it was great. Thor's reaction was great. I knew it!
But yeah, no, it's great because like Cap's like raining down lightning, and the best. I mean, to me, the best part is our first big audience reaction when he holds it. Like that's
yeah,
he's just losing it.
Oh my God.
And then
And he wields it like Thor. He's doing the whole.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
my favorite is like he
Lightning.
throws his shield and then hits it with the hammer, just like in the first Avengers, just to send a shockwave to Thanos.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, they're even throwing a callback to that.
Oh, yeah.
But even still, it's
A lot
not
of fan
enough.
service here,
It's
but yeah, it
still
was
not
great.
enough.
And it
was
wasn't
perfect.
enough though.
Yeah.
To take down.
No, but it
Thanos.
was good-
Because it's
good
still
stuff to
Cap.
see.
I mean, Cap is essentially.
Oh my God, the
a
whole
super,
fight scene with Thor and Captain America and Iron Man.
Because in the end,
That was
essentially,
freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it throws back to what,
the first Avengers.
The first Avengers.
Yeah. When Iron
where
Man's
the three of them
fighting
are in
Thor.
the forest
Mm-hmm.
going
Fighting.
at it.
Right, now they're fighting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, even then, essentially, Cap is still just a superhuman fighting a mad titan.
Yes.
And that's still not enough, even with Thor's hammer, as you see. And, by this point, Thanos is just pissed, and he's just like, you know what? Bring them all. Everyone's back. All 4 of his horsemen, all of his army.
Sure, because they
And
never died.
They never died at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, this is my single favorite shot in the entire movie, and it's Cap standing up, pulling up what's left of his shield, strapping it down.
Strapping it on his broken arm.
And you have like this massive wide shot. Half the screen is Thanos and his army, all in darkness. The other half,
Captain
emptiness.
That's
Emptiness and one person, the one ray of light coming through.
Yeah.
And that to me was like a beautifully set up shot. Like that right there should be a fucking poster in someone's room. And then, because it's just like, oh god, there's no way you can stand up to it. Then you hear static. And you want to talk about fan service. I don't know how much fan service this was, but you talk about what comes next is probably, I think, the greatest audience reaction I have ever heard and ever witnessed in a theater.
and Black Panther comes out.
Oh no! It's first. It's Sam on the earpiece going on your left,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which was another callback to Winter
Yeah.
Soldier.
Yeah.
And when he turns to his left, and Strange's portal opens, and then out comes Black Panther, Shuri, and his other
His
soon-to-be
guardian,
bride. Yes.
Yeah.
And apologize for not knowing the name, but. Oh man! The second they came out, you could tell people were just so excited.
And then
they
ev-
came
and
back.
then
Then
everyone
another
was coming
portal
out. Yeah.
opens, and then Falcon flies out with them. Another one opens. Strange comes out. It's everybody that's on Titan. Strange appears. Drax, Mantis, Star-Lord takes his helmet off.
Groot.
Oh, not yet.
Yeah, we don't. I was
yet.
looking for Groot the whole
The
time.
reason
It's
I
just
the
the
reason
end.
I know this is I have watched this like audience reaction thing on a loop because it is the sheer joy that comes out of everybody when this scene
sure,
happens. It's
it's-
beautiful.
It's
But then right after Star-Lord swings Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and then everybody just was so happy.
well, it was
Because that was the one like loss in Infinity War everyone felt the most.
I was gonna say this. It was all the bullshit we've been through, right?
Yeah.
Was the payoff. This is in a way, this is how the big sagas in the comic
Yeah,
books
Bucky
go.
came out. And
Then Bucky and Groot come out.
The big final fight.
You know?
scene.
Yeah.
This is the first time
Black
it's just on
Panther.
film.
Black Panther announces his war chant. His army comes back.
And what was funny,
Then
and
all the
somebody
sorcerers.
somebody says something, and
Oh, no, wait.
Strange's friend is like,
because like all the sorcerers are there.
Yeah.
Was it Wong comes out too?
Yeah.
And then Strange looks at Wong and is like, "Is that everybody?"
he goes, "What you
What,
want
you
more?"
wanted more? And then right on that cue, I'll let you take over. You wanted to say what happened with Ant-Man when he grows.
Oh,
becomes
he
giant, man.
yeah.
Breaks
So
it right
he
out.
says, "What you want more?" He grows giant, and brings in Rhodey and
brings out
Rocket.
Rhodey, Hulk, and Rocket.
I also thought that was kind of a line at fans. We were talking about how they were mad that there weren't going to be more superheroes in the second movie.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was a kind of a little jab at them. You want more?
It's like, what? You wanted more?
See, my
That's
favorite
what I
part
said.
that
They're
was
very
coming
aware.
out.
Your favorite? Well, one of my favorite scenes, and we probably won't get to it, so I'll mention it now, is when Cap's got the I can't remember the name of it, the axe hammer.
Yeah.
And Thor's like,
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
And then Thor's like, you take the little one. He grabs.
Yeah, he grabs his axe. Here,
But no,
you
it's
take
like-
the little one.
As all these armies, everyone's coming down, all the sorcerers, all of the Wakandan army, all of the heroes, Scarlet Witch even coming back
Yeah.
too.
She was
And then
badass
right
in
in the
that
front, there's Captain America, Avengers! Holds out his hand. Mjolnir just comes right into it.
Yep.
He says assemble. And you could...
Well, people lost their shit.
God,
Oh yeah, that
is why
whole
this
movie
has to be
theater
seen in the
cheered.
theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you could look up finding these reactions, I've watched, I've listened to them multiple times on YouTube.
I think the sheer scope of the fight scene needs to be seen in the theater. It doesn't. It won't do you
Absolutely
justice
needs to be seen in the theater.
on
I mean,
any
just-
side.
Unless you have a 70-inch TV.
Even then, even then,
Even then, it's still.
I saw it in the XD theater, which was fucking.
So did we.
fantastic.
That's where we saw it.
So
too.
did
with
we.
the sound and the
Yeah.
it was. You could hear everything and see everything.
Yeah.
It was great. They also had the Star Wars trailer, which was like, but anyway,
So did ours. But anyway,
Yeah.
so the I gotta say that might be the single greatest scene in all 11 years.
Oh, yeah,
Every
by
single
far,
Disney
it's-
MCU film. That moment right there was just an encapsulation of their awareness of the franchise, their awareness of all 11 years.
Yeah. Is it
Building up.
culminated
Yes.
right there?
well,
It's
that's
just that right there.
And it
Even
ma-
before the battle, just bringing everyone back and knowing how much that gravity of that moment would just stir everybody up.
and it makes sense too because it's a saga. Because they've announced this is the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
So of course it's the biggest battle is at the end, just like it would be in a comic book.
And thus begins the gigantic battle. So yes, that's all the stuff that happens beforehand, and then we get to the battle. And holy hell, where to begin? You know what?
Well, Scarlet Witch, which I wanted to see happen in Infinity War with Thanos, finally happens.
Yeah.
And this one, I was cheering that on because I knew that, no offense, that bitch is powerful. She's maybe one of the most powerful
She
Avengers.
is. No, she is one
period.
of the most powerful
She
characters
is.
Yeah.
in the
It's
Marvel
not. She might
comics.
be. She is.
And I loved it when she fucked up Thanos. I mean, even Thanos was like, fire on her own troops because she's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
fucking
it's like
kill
rain
me.
fire.
Yeah.
It's like
Rain,
you're a
fire,
man.
but I don't
He's like,
care.
I'm gonna fucking die. Rain fire.
I don't care.
It's like she's gonna fucking kill me.
And she would have too.
She
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, because he's like, I don't even know your name. You will.
yeah. You took everything from me. You're gonna get.
You're
fucked
gonna
up.
get everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
And then, of course, they rain fire. The missiles are coming down. And then all of a sudden, because they're directed at like everything that's a threat, and they're firing down. But then all of a sudden, they point upwards, and they start shooting at
And
the
I'm
sky.
like,
They're
John, what are they doing? He goes,
I
oh,
I'm already over there just going, oh shit, oh this is gonna be great. And you're like, what are they doing? I'm like, just watch. And then the yellow streak of energy just comes straight down. It's Captain Marvel, and doing what she did in in her own movie. She just rips the shit out of Thanos's like what Sanctuary 2. She's just tearing it up. I'm just sitting there. I wanted to yell so loud, "Fuck your ship, Thanos! Fuck your ship!"
Oh, we had children around us.
I loved it. I don't understand where her powers. I would like to know how her powers are so amplified. And it bugs
What do you
me.
mean?
It's
Because her powers come from one Infinity Stone.
not necessarily. Even
It's an
No.
It's amplified,
Even in the
but it's the Tesseract.
she absorbed the Tesseract's power.
She
That's what it
absorbs
is.
it.
She's okay. Hold on.
Okay.
She is essentially, from
Now
my
we're gonna talk
understanding of
about
everything
Marvel.
I've read, she is a sponge. She can absorb energy. She is essentially Android 18.
Okay.
That's where she gets her abilities, and this is everything that she's like taken on. Like whether it be the Tesseract, whether it be all of this stuff that the Kree and the other.
I know she's been
people-
genetically manipulated. I
Yeah,
get
she's
that.
been genetically manipulated.
Yes.
But she doesn't get her power from the Infinity Stone. She took it, and
She
it's hers
is the
now.
Infinity Stone.
Well, she has, but it's just still one Infinity Stone. So when she goes up against the Gauntlet should be able to fuck her up. And
Unless-
it
if-
kind of does, but not as much as I thought it would.
Not necessarily, because again, if the power is directed at her, she can consume it. That's
All
the
5
thing.
stones, or all 6 stones. I mean, that's a
Even-
lot.
I'll check the comics, but she's single-handedly punched out Thanos with the gauntlet on.
With the guy, yeah, I can see that.
No, she didn't have the gauntlet on. Thanos had the gauntlet on, but she still laid him out.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like to know a little bit more, I guess, because it does bug me a little bit.
Which,
I'm like,
what
Google
bugged,
that shit.
yeah, well,
what bugged me about Captain Marvel in this film was the fact that they did not use her more.
oh no, she's at the beginning. She's at
I
the
was
end, and-
pissed.
I'll get to that.
I'm not
more.
really
I have
pissed.
a
No.
theory.
I'm
No,
okay.
I was mad.
because we talked about it. Yes, you were mad, but here's the thing: they're winding up the stories of the original
No, I
characters.
get.
Yeah, I
no,
agree.
okay.
We're going to see a lot
No,
more of her.
I
coming on.
get
Yeah,
that. We
second
talked
saga.
about this the other day. I get that. But my problem is they made such a big deal out of her, out of Captain Marvel at the end of Infinity War, because when you saw that little clip of who it was,
who that was, yeah.
you were like, "Oh my
shit,
god!"
yeah.
And I'm like, "What is that?" And you're like, "That's Captain Marvel."
But-
and I'm like, "Who?"
And I had to tell you that's where Rogue got her powers from.
And you explained all that to me, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But they made her film, which, by the way, if you have not seen that one,
2 months before this
shame
one.
on you.
Yeah.
You need to go see that. It is a badass
what kind
fucking
of
film.
MCU
You
fan
need
are
to go
you?
see that. Okay. But they made her so freaking badass, and it was like, okay,
And she had the mohawk.
she's gonna be in Endgame
We
at
were-
the
we were-
beginning,
Yeah,
and then nothing,
and then she'll be at the end.
and end. And I'm
It's
like,
not her movie though. It's not. It's not. She's
We'll
going to
get
be.
more,
If anything,
no,
she's
yeah.
going to be the lead in Phase 2 in the second
I
saga.
was bummed.
The next saga.
Well,
That's what I think.
Well, tell you what.
She's the new Iron Man in the new saga. I'm telling you.
I
Here's the
get
thing,
it,
Steph.
but I was bummed
You're bummed now, but I'm telling you, you'll
It'll
have a
pay
lot
off.
more later on.
Yeah,
because I want
agree.
our daughter to see that.
And but
You
but
will.
by then she'll be old enough then.
Yeah, she'll be.
So then you should be happy about that.
she'll be preteen.
But no,
by the
like
time the second one's over.
so. Anyway, getting to that. Speaking of Captain Marvel, she does have a cool moment because Spider-Man's got the gauntlet. He's swinging around. He does his instant kill. He's
So-
like, "Suit, instant kill." He's just this, like
This is my favorite scene of Bose's film.
He's like, "Oh, hi." And he's just like holding onto the gauntlet. I was like, "Hi, who are you?"
He's like fighting people off left and right, trying to keep the gauntlet and everything, and he does. And basically, Marvel sent to him to take it to Scott Lang's van, which
Right.
somehow
It's
is-
appeared.
well, no,
they
it's
needed
still
another-
Survive the
survived the explosions, random
Because
explosions.
they're like, "We need to get
plot
to
device.
Yeah.
like, we need to get to the time machine, but it's been destroyed." And then Ant-Man's like,
no,
we got
there's
another."
one. And
Which
the
is
fabulous.
hilarious.
Okay,
That
so
is
the
pretty funny.
fabulous part is they go to turn it on and the damn thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was great.
But no, I mean before that though, like I think the greatest
But
moment
the
to me
greatest like female empowering
when
scene is you have Captain Marvel there, and Spider-Man's like, I don't know, I
Peter
don't
Parker."
know if you can get there on your own, and every female rolls up, including Pepper,
yep,
and goes, she's not going to be by herself.
it's like she has help. Yeah,
We got your back, and every female superhero
Valkyrie.
was like,
It's like, yeah, you had
Right
Valkyrie
there.
come back. You had the Wasp. You had Scarlet Witch. Every single woman.
That
you got to
means
see
anything.
How many women have actually been involved in the Marvel
yes,
universe?
and that was just so
They
empowering
were
for
essentially
females.
they were her running backs. They were letting her.
Mm-hmm.
They were clearing the path for her to get there. That was a great.
They made her
moment.
Tom Brady.
They did.
without the deflated
It was
gauntlet.
It was their
There
moment.
was no deflate gauntlet.
They got
deflated gauntlet.
They got their message. They got their SJW.
I
on
mean,
it.
you know what? No, it was awesome to see that.
It was.
For you and
And we have
your,
a woman now.
Your daughter,
perspective on
I
that.
know.
and for your daughter to go see that also, she probably thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because-
well, she hasn't seen it yet, but she will.
She will. But the thing is, in the world we live in, it's,
It's a good
men
moment.
are here, women are down here. We have this horrible glass ceiling that we're trying to break through as far as work and pay scales and things like that. And yes, this is a comic book movie and I'm taking it someplace else. But
No, I think that's exactly where they took this.
it's very empowering for the females to be the ones holding
Getting
the
their
gauntlet.
moment. Basically getting their moment in this
Yeah,
scene, right?
hold,
You got your
holding
moment.
holding the gauntlet and carrying it the final way.
Yeah. On top of it, like Captain Marvel even gets, a moment like Thanos is trying to put the stones back in the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
She's holding on to one of them, and that's kind of where I think you and I were, because her and Thanos
She
have
was
like
holding
a
the
full-on
power
fight.
stone.
Yeah.
They were fighting over the power stone.
Yeah. they have a small fight there. We're like, oh shit, this is gonna be great. She's gonna hand him his ass,
Yeah.
and then something happens, and
Well, he puts the Power Stone in his hand, and then he whoops her ass.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
he does. He's able to.
He flips it and punches her.
Where it
Yeah.
takes all the Guardians of the Galaxy to wield it, he was able to wield it with
Yeah.
one hand. That's what it is. So
but then we have like our little moment with the Sherlocks again,
the shirt, yeah.
with Robert Downey and Doctor Strange.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
when he goes to Strange, like Strange, you said this is like of all the scenarios you saw. This
Is this
the-
what you saw? Is this how we win?
Is like, and he tells him, like, if I told you, would you still go through with it?
No, he tells him, if I tell you, it won't happen.
Yeah, if I
So
tell
if
you,
I
it
tell
might
you,
not
it'll
happen.
happen,
Yeah.
He knows it
Yeah.
won't happen. He's probably seen that reality.
So I think at this moment is when in that moment when things are starting to look bad, when Thanos is getting all the stones, he turns to Tony. He just holds up one finger.
Well, yeah, Tony knows what he has to do.
Tony knows it's his time now.
Yeah, this is what he's been building to. This is,
And again-
from Avengers 1,
Which-
which is what it's been about.
Yeah, and again, it's Tony's arc of always
And you know what?
needing to make amends.
They capped it really well. They
Oh, yeah, they did.
they bookended it. They started with this. They ended with this.
Well, it was great because, it started with him at the press conference saying, I am Iron
Man.
Man, and it ended with him.
I am Iron Man.
I wanted him to say, I'm fucking Iron Man.
Yeah, but
And
he's not gonna say
He's not going to
It's
say
not-
that. But,
it's Disney.
But
Yeah.
still,
It's Disney. They wouldn't.
Still,
you're
you know.
Thanos,
But
but,
no, like,
I'm Iron Man.
There's a
I'm
moment
Iron Man.
where like you think Thanos has got all the stones. He puts the gauntlet on. He snaps.
and there's
And
nothing.
there's nothing, and he looks at the gauntlet, there's nothing, and Tony's got the glove he made with all the stones on
It's
it.
his Iron Man
And he's like, you
glove,
can't
yeah.
do this, I am inevitable. And he's like, yeah,
I'm
Why?
Iron Man.
I'm Iron
Man.
Man, bitch.
and he snaps,
Yep.
and
They fade away.
Thanos' army
And
all turns
eventually
to
All
Thanos.
and
turns
eventually
to ash.
Thanos.
At first, I thought he was going to keep Thanos alive to make him feel lost, but it didn't happen, which I was glad about.
I think
He
he's
wouldn't
smart
care.
about that, yeah.
because
It
he was
wouldn't
the,
bother
he-
him.
because he was the last to fade away.
But-
he does feel things, though. He's not a complete.
He's not
He's
a
a
monster.
monster. He's
yeah,
a
but
monster.
I
He
don't.
has
I mean, yeah.
He has his own. It's his own weird, fucked up
justification, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which is how you know it's a sign of a good villain.
yeah, he thinks he's right.
And see, I told John about this. So, going back to the whole, Gamora cannot come back. Gamora was here for this party.
Oh, that's right, because we
Gamora
got
was
2014 Gamora before
We had
she ever met
2014.
Star-Lord.
Gamora died
Right.
to get the Soul Stone.
This is
and
past
and
Gamora.
John and John even made this point when we walked out of the film when we were talking about it. I was like, okay, so Gamora's gone, and he's like, not necessarily. See, Star-Lord was searching for her on their ship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter. She died.
But it's probably searching for, like,
I don't know.
2014 Gamora.
It
you know?
depends. If does Tony know Gamora? Because Tony's the one that zaps him away. So if Tony has Tony would have to know because he knows that that's his girlfriend, and that's why dumbass did what he did in the first movie with Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Star-Lord's the one that
He's
fucked it up.
grieving,
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has to know who Gamora is. And Tony's the one that sends him away. So if you ask me, she's alive.
Yeah. Because
Just based on that principle.
I think, because remember, when we came out of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 stuff, and we saw the teasing of Adam Warlock being created, the guy in
Okay.
the golden thing,
Yeah.
and I said that
Which they've
Eventually-
done nothing with that, but yeah.
They will.
there's going to be a Guardians 3.
Yes, I know.
We're
Phase-
just saving that for later.
Phase 4, baby.
We're saving this for the final discussion. But getting back to the snap and what we've talked about before with the gamma radiation, that it took, it basically destroyed the use of Hulk's arm. What's going to happen if it's just done by a human?
So we had
With just a normal Iron Man.
so
Yeah.
so we had two people sacrifice themselves in this film.
Yes. Yes.
And the second one being Tony Stark. Yeah.
That was awful.
That
That was.
That
I
made me tear up.
knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, if you thought about the series going into the movie, you kind of got.
we got that.
There was no way that he wasn't going to die if they were going to tell the story that they were going to tell. They're just. This has been his.
And also, if
arc.
you look at like whose contract's up,
Yeah, that too. And not to say they can't bring him back. It's comic
books. No one's ever
movies.
dies in a
Yeah,
comic.
nobody's ever really gone. There's another Star
Like
Wars
soap
reference.
opera.
but and I honestly, I hope they call me cold if you will, but I kind of hope they don't, because they've earned every bit of their emotion
I
from
agree.
this.
I agree.
And if they bring it back, that cheapens everything. you
Sure it
felt.
does, but
Yeah.
it's money talks, and
Well, you know what?
You
The
know.
best way to do that is to go back. If you're going to bring Iron Man back, do it circa between Iron Man 1 and before Infinity War.
I'd rather see him in holograms teaching his daughter, like he made like a diary for her.
Yeah, like
you know,
like a
like a
you know,
or
I love you.
put him in a computer.
Basically, the new Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Yeah, he's the new Jarvis.
Oh jeez.
You know, Daddy's Jarvis now. So
Yeah, that was-
because she's going to be Iron Man 3000.
Well, Jarvis.
or
Hey,
Iron
Jarvis.
Man 3000.
Jarvis was his father's driver.
Right,
That we
exactly,
learned
which
in
was
this
really
movie, yeah.
cool. It
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great little Easter egg.
Little
there.
like, oh,
Yeah, look at that little nugget. But yeah, that was great. But yeah, in the way they kept using the 3000, I was like, yep, here it comes. I mean, I love you 3000, and then he kept referring to her as 3000, so you know that's her name.
It's going to be Mark 3000 or
Yeah, she's going to be Iron Man 3000 or Iron Woman.
Mystery
3000.
Science Theater.
It's going to happen.
It's their favorite TV show.
She may not make it till Phase 5 when they do the next saga, but she'll be there. I
We'll see.
guarantee it.
This could be Young Avengers.
well,
It
yeah.
could, it
Well,
could be. They're talking about it.
well, if you think about it, because Captain Marvel's friend Monica, her daughter's in the
Photon.
Young Avengers.
Yeah, because we talked about
We
Photon,
talked about that.
Yeah, we
over
talked
the
about
movie.
that on the Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, she's Photon.
Yeah. So
which again we'll get into Young Avengers and Phase
Anyway.
4.
so
We have a final topic after we wrap up the sending with discussion
We're
topics.
meeting a lot of
but-
kids.
Yeah. Well, let's
Clint's daughter. Okay.
we'll get to it. Don't worry.
hold those thoughts, please.
Sorry.
No, we just
I'm not used to
we're
that.
getting a. It's all right.
Now John knows how I feel. All right.
Anyway, so yeah, we get the Tony's funeral, and that I think to me that's where the emotion hits home.
Yeah.
Is because you see that proof Tony Stark has a heart going
Yeah.
all the way back to part 1 again, putting that out as the memorial.
Which I didn't know who that kid was
I do now.
towards the back.
I did.
And he had to explain it to me.
I knew who that was. Like, wait a minute. Oh, they brought him back because everyone's like, "Who's that
It's
random
Iron-
kid standing there?" It's
It's-
like,
it's
that's the
tech-
kid from Iron Man 3.
It's technically Iron Boy, but yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
But yeah. Which he might become Iron Man at some point.
we'll see.
And
But
the fact that he's standing alone is kind of interesting
I think it's the memorial service that really kind of
because they put all the groups together, you know, which was
Right.
cool.
Right.
You know, I thought because
Yeah.
you got the whole Ant-Man team. You had
the
Spider-Man.
Black Panther
Spider-Man
team.
team. They were all just
Hulk.
as they
Yeah,
were
that-
going through.
Yeah, they had a nice, beautiful Steadicam shot as they're going through all of the characters from like the doc. And if actually, I'm going to look at this again because it starts out in front of the dock, which meant the camera was on the water, and then goes up the dock, up the hill,
Because you have
through all
Pepper
of
and her
them.
daughter.
And it's an unbroken take where you see all 30 members. It's a beautifully staged shot.
And it really, to me, I was thinking, all right, there's that group. So they're not only they're referencing the past, but they could be also foreshadowing the future. You know, there's that group for that movie. There's that movie. There's that. You know, you're like, oh crap. You know,
Yeah.
look at all the possibilities that are coming down the road.
Yeah, but
So
so yeah, that hit close to home. You know, that was just the whole
Yep.
memorial for Tony. That was the emotional crux to me was that point.
Yep.
And then that's the moment. You know, right after that, they decide, all right, we got to send the stones back to those points that we were talking about before.
yeah,
And then we get to this part with them returning the stones, and we see them get sent back. It's like, all right, Cap, where are you? Cap.
he's changed time.
That yes.
He's changed time.
I had
Even if him and Agent Carter, spoiler alert, play.
We're in the spoiler section,
right. Even if
We're talking about the last scene.
even if they play the most unbelievable game, strict rule game through time, because they're going to have to. Cap's got to hold back through everything. He can't show up at any point.
I think he's fine with that. I think after Endgame, he'd be fine with that.
I know, but think about you have the chance to help your friends and you can't. You have to let them go through all this shit, especially the snap.
And knowing what he knows.
He knows it, and he knows it.
And he knows it. But but time has changed,
But
and
by
yet somehow he's still in this timeline.
Well, by then, by those events, by all that stuff in the 1990s when Captain Marvel lands, and in all the stuff from Iron Man on, he's essentially an old man.
even
He's retired.
I get that, but
You
even
know?
here, this is my thing, and I'm hung up on it. I know, and it's time travel, and I should just let it go in suspension of disbelief. But the minute he went back and he just stopped putting the stones back in place. With when he stopped doing that and then moving on, that's when time would have changed. That's when the timeline would have gone. Whoop.
Unless
he put all the stones back.
Well,
Unless
that's what I
all of
mean.
the events that you see with Agent Carter, I mean, she mentioned she remarries. We never see a picture of her husband.
Right.
We like all these other things. They actually do leave it as kind of a question as to like, hey, we still don't know who she remarried.
It could be.
So it could. He could have gone back,
But-
right after Agent Carter got canceled,
But
and then married her then, and
but think about it though, because that means he knows that Shield is
Dirty.
Is dirty.
or Hydra's
Hydra's it's in it. He knows all the key players. He knows everything.
But he also knows. But again, it goes into that whole timeline changing thing that if you disrupt those events, that creates the dark tangent.
And everything changes.
Unless, again, it's just him, like, unless that was already set into play. Unless that was already...
Or maybe that's what the next saga is about, is trying to fix all the dark tangents that are created from him.
We'll see.
Because that could be a huge... Like I was like, aha, 6 movies right there. Dark tangent. I'm like, they could. I'm serious.
Well, you can always go into a lot of different movies, like trying to retcon and explain everything from time travel.
Let's just say he shows up one day later than he's supposed to for the Infinity Stone, and he can't move again for some reason. Suddenly, for one day, you have a dark tangent problem. That's a movie. How do you fight that? What comes
I'll tell you
in to
I'll tell you the truth. I always knew that's how they were going to end it, because when I heard they were going to like play with time travel at the end of Infinity War, like when they did everything with Ant-Man and the Wasp, there was the one line that stuck out to me at the end of First Avenger was when he says, "I'm late for a dance."
Yeah.
Or "Save that last dance for me." I was like,
Yeah.
he's going to go back and stay there. It's like, because they're not going to kill off
foreshadowing.
Captain.
Yeah.
It's like, I knew it from that moment. And I know that that's what they were planning with all of that. She says she remarries, and everything after that.
From the first, from Captain America.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. He's got the ring, and they're like, "You want to tell me about her?" And he says, "No."
No.
Yeah.
So
we don't.
What does that mean? Is it it's Agent Carter, or is it not Agent Carter? We think it is. Is he married again?
That's kind of where they have to
leave everything
that's
open.
where they leave it open, because if you tie it and you point it at everything exactly the way it is, it's
saying.
really hard to...
You could do a whole thing with
But
Steve
I'm
Rogers
surprised,
still.
I'm surprised if that's the thing you're hung up on. Here's what I'm hung up on. Like,
Okay.
this is what hung up with me
I was
in the
hung up
movie.
on Loki.
Okay.
Sure, they send him back. They say, "Cap, where are you, Cap?" And they turn around. Oh, hey, who's this guy on the log who's literally just been sitting here this entire time we set up this display?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we never saw you before.
Yeah.
Where were you?
You didn't see anything, did you? Okay.
If I know Cap is waiting in the wings, and he walked in at the exact right time, because he knows everything
Probably.
that's going to happen.
But-
It's like robbing a bank, knowing exactly when everybody's going to make their move.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing. Even knowing that, even like having that little question in my mind, still didn't detract anything from the ending.
Oh, I'm not
Because-
either. Don't get me wrong. These are
Yeah,
little
no, like,
things that
it's-
I'm making a mountain out of.
But here's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like I think when I heard about Roger Ebert describing this is what I thought was always the greatest thing about when you have a hang-up in a movie. And I think it's what a lot of people get really mixed up on. And it's the sandwich rule. The sandwich rule is, if you don't think about the plot gaps from the time you leave the theater, drive home, and start to make yourself a sandwich, then it did its job. But if you think about those things right after the movie and up to that point, then it's questionable. But if it doesn't ruin anything in between now and then, it's done its job. And that's what I think.
Well,
I
yeah.
think it did its job.
It did its job.
It passed the sandwich rule.
There's definitely plot holes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect movie, but
Not everyone
I don't
is.
care. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it,
Yeah.
and I think they did a really good job with it. I don't think they could have written it better.
But I think
Get into that
fin-
later.
our final thing we're going to touch on, which is I think the last point of the film, is old Steve passes the shield on to Sam.
Yeah.
And because I mean, Sam, at one point Sam does take up the Captain America, mantle. Bucky's taking it up at some point too. But I just thought it was a great way of
Passing it on.
Passing the. I was going to say passing the torch, but it's really passing
Changing
the
of
shield.
the guard.
Yeah.
Passing of the shield.
Yeah, it was. The other thing is how's he going to get? He won't have any Cap's abilities. He's just going to be Captain America.
Oh, unless they got some extra super soldier serum
Well,
out there.
that's what I was thinking too. Do they? Does he go through the same process? How's that going to work?
Right.
Especially since we already see him as he really is. You know what I mean? Like they did the whole computer generation with Steve Rogers making him frail.
Well, because they've done a lot with the graphics and film. They made Robert Downey Jr. younger.
Mm-hmm.
They've made so many other actors look younger. I think this might be one of the first times they've made someone look much older.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
To me, like I said at the beginning of all this, and you were like, no. It's kind of like a changing of the guard. So you have the old guard with Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, the Hulk, all of them.
essentially everyone. Yeah, at Times Square that was
And
in that
Clint.
nice circle.
Yeah.
You have the old guard, basically saying, okay, we're kind of.
They're going to go away for a
Moving
little
on.
while. Yeah.
It's time for new blood to kind of take over and let them fight the fight.
And I'm not a big comic book guy, like I said, but I do know that people rotate in and out of the Avengers comic books, so there's no reason that's not going to happen here.
Exactly.
And it'd be awesome when they come back. It's like when a wrestler comes back after being gone for a year.
Which I heard Goldberg's coming back to the Saudi Arabia show.
Is he really? Might have to start watching again. That's my wrestler.
I knew that would get you.
That's my boy.
All right,
Maybe
so
he'll be dressed in blue, and then you can say, "That's my boy Blue."
My boy Blue.
that's my boy Blue Tista.
Anyway,
All right,
that's kind
so-
of how I felt at the end. I was like, "Oh, okay." The old guard's kind of putting down, and the new young blood is taking up the mantle.
That's what I mean. That's where I think you're going to see more of Captain Marvel in the next saga.
I mean, for 11 years, I think these actors have earned the moment to just pass it on.
Kick back.
Yeah, absolutely. So fans out there, by no means begrudge them if they want to enjoy their retirement.
But honestly, I thought it was hilarious that Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy
Which
yet
is
again.
a perfect fit because of
Perfect fit.
Yeah.
Which he joins them, and he's back to the beer gut, heavy set.
I think he was that way the whole time.
Nope.
I think he was. I hate to burst your bubble there.
I love it.
No.
He actually says,
I think
we are the Asgardians of the galaxy.
I think
that's
Now question.
porno
So
title.
who do you think is going to be in charge of the Guardians of the Galaxy? You think it'll be Thor? Or you think it'll be Quill?
they'll continue to go back and forth with it. I mean,
I
Thor
think
is
that'll
obviously
be
the
I'll
most,
say this.
most powerful Guardian now.
I heard Adam Warlock is actually the leader.
Ooh,
And then Howard the Duck.
Oh God, no.
No joke.
No.
That's serious. I mean, that's
No.
not the Abomination 80s movie we saw, but
I'm
better,
a Lucas defender, but that movie was terrible. Even I know that.
Anyway.
Oh,
Well, not the movie. I'm talking like the comics. That's
I know.
Lucas read the Guardians of the Galaxy comics.
I know. I get it. Oh,
He just couldn't, put this
Okay.
vision out. But that is essentially Endgame in a nutshell.
in a nutshell.
So
And what a big ass nutshell that was.
It's
so
huge. And,
yeah.
And then I don't know. There's still a shitload to talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's this. I think this is a good time as any to go into our discussion topics. All those times, if you stuck with us throughout this whole thing, where we kept saying, "Save that for later, save it for later. We're gonna discuss it." Now's that time. We're gonna start discussing it. And I think what better way is, where does the MCU go from here? What is Phase 4?
Well, it could go a lot of ways. It could be the fallout from this saga, but I don't think they're going to do that because they've really kind of defined
they made it end game.
Yeah, they kind of defined it as the
This is it.
Infinity
We're
Saga.
done.
Yeah.
We're going to move on. So I think they're going to start over again. It's going to be that one person, like Iron Man. It'll start with Iron Man, and it will literally grow again.
I think Far From Heaven is going to kick that up. Or Far From Heaven, God.
Really?
Really?
Far From Home.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Far From Home, huh?
Spider-Man's going to go back to the 50s and
Far From Heaven. Okay.
Far From Heaven is your
it's
new
going to be played by Julianne
Marvel
Moore.
starter.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got through working on another Todd Haynes movie.
I could easily see them building the next saga around Spider-Man.
Yes.
However, I will say this, that Captain Marvel, attitude-wise, is very much like a female Tony Stark. Pretty much the same kind of
Arrogance.
bravada.
Yeah. No, that's definitely one of Captain Marvel's flaws in the comics is her arrogance.
Yeah. And so I could easily see them using her as the pinnacle going forward.
Well, here's another interesting thought to think of. Was it now that Marvel's acquired 20th Century Fox, they now have the rights to both Fantastic Four and the X-Men.
Nice.
So now that we have Captain Marvel, we also now have Rogue, which means we could finally get the version of Rogue that I have been waiting for since 2000.
Well,
fuck off, Bryan Singer.
With that said, we also have Magneto and
Keep it, Michael
the Scarlet
Fassbender.
Witch.
Oh yeah, are we finally gonna make the
And
Scarlet
Quicksilver.
Witch? And oh hey, maybe we can get the Quicksilver from the X-Men
X-Men.
movies and bring him
Well,
with the Scarlet Witch
here's-
and make them mutants again and not just godchildren.
If they go to the multiverse with the next one, yeah, absolutely. They can merge both worlds if they wanted to. If they really if they really like the cast of X-Men that they have right now, yeah, you could easily bleed them over.
Dark Phoenix is going to be really... there's a lot riding on that.
I've heard both good and I've heard a lot bad. But,
I've heard a lot of bad.
so I don't know. We'll see.
At least they put it in space. That's all I have to say. At least.
So
Yeah.
Far From Home is coming. What
Yes.
else?
We also have, I mean, of course, your movie makes $700 million domestically. There's going to be a Black Panther 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which we've talked about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
Which,
to that.
you know,
Especially now with Thor in there. Come on.
yeah, Thor's in there.
That's hilarious.
And we're getting, oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank on the director again?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. James Gunn's back, which I have a theory about the whole James Gunn release thing.
So he could go do a DC movie.
It was so he can go do Suicide Squad 2.
You think they did a
I
backdoor deal?
think they made a little deal out of it so they could say he's off his contract, so he can go do that, and say, okay, is that done? Is it wrapped? Come on back. Everything that happened in between, yeah, I mean, I think all this stuff was...
I think it was just an overreaction by Disney. That, if you ask me, I think they overreacted before they saw the evidence.
I think they stirred it up on purpose for that reason, so
Maybe.
maybe break contract.
Maybe. I could see him doing it. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Trust me, I mean, if it's one thing I've learned from the 90s and seeing all this stuff with the MPAA and everything, outrage amongst audience is nothing new that's been manipulated by studios before.
Yeah, there you go. I am excited for Spider-Man Far From Home, especially since they just released the new trailer. Have you guys seen it? They
I haven't
released
seen
it
the new one
today.
yet.
No.
No, I haven't seen the new one yet.
It basically deals with Spider-Man is dealing with the loss of Iron Man.
Oh.
Wow.
So they take the whole thing and reverse it.
No wonder
Okay.
the embargo's lifted on spoilers today.
Yeah, exactly. So Peter's dealing with Tony's loss.
Wow.
and
Yeah,
all this.
because when Iron Man is dying, he's like, "No, stay with me, stay with me."
Yeah.
Just like Iron Man did to Spider-Man,
Right.
Yeah.
when
So-
he was blowing away.
So now Peter's lost his dad again, essentially. And that's part of the story. So that makes that movie that much more interesting to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And we also have Doctor Strange 2 coming out.
That'll be cool.
Which,
that would be cool. I like Doctor Strange. I like
You know what,
Cumberbatch, though.
If
He's-
we have another mirrored universe scene, and if they do release a 3D, I'm going to find our friends that have the substances before that. I'm going to get the 3D ticket.
John, why are you licking that toad?
Oh,
I just really want some more popcorn, man. Come on. This looks great. I'm going to go.
This toad's awesome. You want to lick?
I can't. I know. I have to work. I'm sorry. All right. Remember,
But yeah, so
remember
those are the ones that are
movies?
confirmed. We got
Ribbit.
some rumored stuff. And like you mentioned, Brian, there's a Black Widow movie that they're talking about going back, doing her origin, which At this point, it does
waste.
seem really
Kinda
weird.
doesn't
It
seem
feels like
necessary.
it feels like a waste to me, and
Yeah.
it feels like it feels like that would be like throwing us a bone because
We've been asking for it for God knows how long.
and they're going to give it to us now because they killed her off, and they're going to play off that.
That's a terrible way to.
If that's the
do
case,
it.
then no, don't give me that. I'm
no.
sorry. I mean, she's a great actress. I love the character, but if you're going to do it just based because people are feeling they're missing her and that's what you want to play off of, no.
Yeah, 'cause
that's not the way to go.
We've been asking for this movie since Avengers, the
They
very
find-
first Avengers. That's been like 7 years ago.
They find some remarkable way to just bring her back at the end of an origin story. Okay, fine, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
But that's the only way for me.
We also have another a couple characters I'm not familiar with. Shang-Chi.
That one is the most. I know nothing.
I
about.
know nothing about Shang-Chi. I
It
wrote it
almost-
down. I meant to go look it up, but I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, I wonder if it's related to to Iron Fist or something. That's the only thing I can think
I have
of. You
no
know?
idea, but
I'm sure there's comic book fans that are going to be yelling at
the
us.
director and writer that they've attached to it right now are interesting. Destin Daniel Cretton, who did or Creton, however say his name, he did a great indie flick a few years back called Short Term 12, which actually is where Brie Larson got her start. Is from that movie. And a Chinese American writer, his name's Dave Callahan, who's working on the new Wonder Woman movie and also wrote Into the Spider-Verse, or is it the sequel?
Part
he's
two?
writing?
Looks
Yeah,
like he's
wow.
working on
Okay.
part two,
Looks
yeah.
like he's working on the sequel. So hey, if it's anything as good as Into the Spider-Verse, more power to him.
This whole Eternals thing, I'm okay with it, but I don't know if I want Angelina Jolie in it. I don't know how I feel about
What
that.
are Eternals?
Eternals are essentially like cosmic, the most powerful beings in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like I think one is time and the other one is life. It's a strange
I would think they would probably link,
embodiment of characters.
Why do we
I would
even
think they would link them
need
to the
that?
Don't
stones,
know.
if anything. They would probably
Yeah,
link
I'm
them
like,
to the
why
stones or something.
shouldn't they have been brought out in Infinity War if they were going to?
If the stones are destroyed, maybe that's what brings them out.
The one thing,
Oh, for goodness sakes.
That would be my guess.
but again, I don't know nothing about Shang-Chi. I don't know anything about the Eternals. Like I said I was a moderate at best comic fan. I mean, I got what I knew because I loved X-Men so much, and I went from there.
As far as your next thing about a young heroes, I think I would rather see that on their streaming service. I would rather see that on Disney Plus, just because you'd have more time to flush out the character,
And then make a movie.
and then you can make a movie. But if you get really these streaming services, you're getting 10-hour movies when you think about it. They're just episodic. I think
Depending on the scope, though, or else we can end up with something that turns out like the X-Files movie.
But-
which we've had a smaller scope on TV for so long. Something we're used to seeing. Granted, yes, no matter how big, if you get a 65-inch or a 75-inch screen,
I'm
you
not-
go to a theater and it's like a couple 100 inches wider.
Yeah, I'm not-
so that's
I'm not really
it's a
talking
bigger scope.
I'm talking about just like story wise, and I'm talking about it's like saying that not to jump genres, but it's like saying that, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. They can flush that out much better on the streaming service than they ever could,
Probably.
just because it's such a vast story than they ever could in 2 hours or 3 hours even. In a movie. So that's what I'm saying. You have more time to flesh, especially if you're introducing new if we're going to get a young power,
And technically we haven't.
a new Iron Man or
Well, that's the thing is like these other sequels. When we get sequels to Captain Marvel, when we get other like Spider-Man: Far From Home, in which we're going to see more of the people still affected by Tony's death. Like we're going to see his daughter, we're going to see the young boy. So these are characters that we're going to start out with on the big screen that have already started on the big screen, and as they're going to like let these movies progress, there's the possibility they could allow those other actors to grow and rise with the movies to the point where they'll be able to carry on their own Avengers film on their own.
I was going to say, or they could pair them. Like you could put them like they did with the Captain America movies, were almost rarely just Captain America. He was always building off something else. So if you want to put them with other superheroes, that would work. Do that, keep that strategy going.
Could be.
So I can see that. All right, Steph. This is all
your
you.
topic. This one's yours.
All right.
Because it drove you nuts when you left the theater.
Yeah, what about Loki?
Loki. We've talked about it a little bit, thanks to me not being able to read the script. But
What do I write these things for? No one reads.
No, I saw it, and he's just going into it. And that's why I was like, can we? Go!
so we'll dive back. Let's
What about Loki?
what
Not
have we
what
not-
about
what have we
Dre.
not
What
covered?
about Loki? He must have been truly dead in Infinity War, but now the post-Avengers Tower, Loki escapes with the Tesseract. Will he come back into play?
Yes.
You say yes.
I say yes.
You're standing on my foot. Get off. Thank you.
These things you can't see.
Yeah.
Playing footsie under the table. This is why.
You say yes.
Yes.
What do you say?
Absolutely. I think he's. I mean,
We're-
Tom Hiddleston's a fan favorite.
He's coming back as in the
I think
Disney
yes.
streaming service.
Yes.
That we know. That's happening.
Yes. I think yes. I think he is definitely coming back.
Yeah.
Where, I have no freaking idea, because he takes that Tesseract and he disappears in a wherever timeline.
Yep.
You know what?
And that's why it happens,
And-
because they're setting up the TV series.
I have a crazy idea for that TV series. We have Loki basically be like the punked version of Quantum Leap.
Oh, what the hell?
So jumping into other superheroes.
Because he is the trickster. No, not even that. Just like he goes in time and just fucks with everybody.
No. We have already destroyed our Back to the Future childhood. Please do not destroy Quantum Leap.
I think Loki's done. Although that is a funny idea. I think
I like
Loki's
that.
made enough enemies out there that they could easily, pair him up against somebody and make him the anti-hero.
Yeah.
And, whatever.
I just think it'd be fun through going through time and being a dick. Everybody wants to go through time and just,
But again, like you said, Tom Hiddleston, he's a big fan favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even kids think he's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So yes, they have to keep him around.
Well, he plays
Absolutely.
into that character, and when he goes
He
to
loves-
these Comic
He does
Cons,
so-
he's
loves being
say
around.
my name. He's into it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's definitely back, and whether the question is he alive past Endgame or not? I think is the real question. That's
or Infinity War, because it's where he's technically killed.
right. So does he is he in an alternate timeline now? Is he not? Is he just on a little sidetrack? We don't know yet.
Better yet, Stefan. It's like Doctor Who with the Tesseract, where he goes around messing up timelines.
No.
Well, if we get into the multi,
He's the new master.
If he ends up sliding into the multiverse, God knows where he'll land.
I hate you.
He could be Doctor Who if he goes to the multiverse.
Stop it!
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
He's the other Time Lord. And I broke my wife again.
Done.
Moving on.
Where's the TARDIS? Where's the TARDIS?
Oh,
Even I don't even watch Doctor Who, and I know that. All right.
Congratulations. You know the blue box. What does it stand for?
We already
moving on.
next topic we pretty much already covered.
We
Thor.
covered that
Well,
one.
no. Who the hell's Beta Ray Bill?
That is
It's another Guardian.
horse that has Thor's powers.
What?
Essentially, he looks like a horse. He's an alien.
What?
He's an alien.
I'm just enjoying looking at your reaction.
He looks like a horse, and he wears Thor's feathered helmet.
What?
And he has the hammer, and he basically is Thor,
You know what?
except he's an alien.
Sorry, no. Can I jump back in the timeline and get the fuck away from that question again? Because I don't want to know that ever
There
again.
are people that are clamoring to see him.
I don't want to know. Oh,
But here's the thing: what Zune song is going to be playing when this happens?
so done.
Zunes.
Anyway.
Zunes. Oh my god. Oh, are we going back to what was it? Not Facebook. What was it? MySpace.
MySpace.
Oh,
Tom.
here's the other. Okay.
MySpace Tom.
MySpace.
Okay,
Tom.
so
He's my buddy.
speaking of Beta Ray Bill, I mean, everyone, when you're asking how they're going to do that, everyone asked how are they going to pull off Ego the Living Planet.
True, and they pulled it off.
Okay.
It was still a little out there, but they did pull it off. The ending of that movie is what made that movie, though. I'm sorry. That movie emotionally at the end was
That was a
heart
great,
terror.
and again, like
It was rip my heart. I'm
Yeah.
Mary fucking Poppins, y'all.
yeah,
That was
hilarious,
beautiful.
hilarious.
infinitely
If
better
Disney
than
had
Mary
known
Poppins
them,
Returns.
they never would have been able to say that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
his
moment there
sacrifice
was
at the
better
end
than
was-
that moment there was better than Mary Poppins
Okay.
Returns in general.
I never saw it, so
With 20s.
there you go.
Oh,
Gamora's whereabouts. We kind of covered that. too.
Yeah, we
because
covered
there's a
that.
moment on the screen. He says Gamora's whereabouts. It says locating.
says searching.
They're
Yeah.
searching.
Mm-hmm.
They're still searching.
Yeah.
All right.
She's
So-
out there. That's
out
gonna.
there.
That'll probably be a plot line of number 3 or 4. Who knows?
And again, it's going to go into that love triangle because last we saw Gamora, she had no idea why her past self or her future self was interested in Star-Lord.
yeah.
So
This
again,
is the guy. Like she's like,
Yeah.
this is the one
Yeah,
you're
she
telling me
says
about?
this to Nebula, and Nebula's like, I can't help you.
because that's what I was telling you. When
All that was left was a tree and a
all stuff was a tree and
and a raccoon.
Raccoon,
Raccoon,
or
yeah.
something,
Well, and then because when we came out of Guardians 2 and you asked who Adam Warlock was, and I said, well, apparently there's a love triangle between Star-Lord, Gamora, and Adam. And you went, how? It's like, because they seem so connected by the end of Guardians 2. This could be how.
Okay.
That's the answer to your question from 2 years ago.
So she's hanging out with Adam right now?
I don't know.
She could
We
be
don't know.
anywhere, really. I mean, they could place her anywhere, but I think she's still alive. I think she's out there. She's too popular of a character, and I think that's going to be about
But
him
then-
finding her again.
But then if they bring her back to life, why can't they bring Nat?
Because
That's another
Nat
question.
is literally Nat has taken her place.
Unless they go back in the timeline as well.
Yeah, then we're going to get into I'm going to go cross-eyed here again if we keep
I can't do it.
This is what happens
Moving
with
on.
time travel.
It's too late in the day for me to even remotely think
All
about
right,
this.
so I'll touch on another topic I wrote on there when we mentioned it with the 20th Century Fox Disney merger,
Yeah.
and that's another plot line in the Marvel series, which was huge and very well done. X-Men versus Avengers.
Yeah, they could do that. They hit the multiverse, I think, like I said, easy.
That would be cool.
I
Yeah.
think of the two groups right now,
mean-
it would be much easier to bring the Fantastic Four in because that franchise is dead. So it's easy
Yeah.
to recast
So-
and throw them in there.
So that's how we get Chris Evans
I was going to
back.
say, so Chris Evans is the torch again.
Flame on!
Wait, aren't you? No, I'm not.
Oh,
You're
look.
mistaken.
Look, I put on these glasses. See? I'm
And
trying something
I
different.
fire.
Harvey, what have you done with Two-Face?
And this is not America's ass back here. No. That's not what. No.
That is not America's ass.
That's hilarious. I was laughing.
That
so
was
hard.
so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So yeah, I think honestly, of all the things we mentioned, I would like to see the next big phase or the next big build-up be a build-up to X-Men versus Avengers.
I just don't think they're gonna have. I think they've already got something. They've had something planned for a while.
Oh yeah, they have something planned
For
but-
this saga, if they're gonna do something like that, I think that's down the road. Unless they decide to go off on a sidetrack, but
Because honestly, like
make
why
it its own standalone or something.
why else would we have had this big of a push for a studio to completely merge with a long existing studio for so long?
But they didn't do it just for Marvel. They did it for their streaming service. They wanted the content.
They did it for Marvel. They did it for Star Wars. Did it for Avatar too.
Well, and again, they wanted more content for their streaming service. They didn't
Yeah.
have a lot. I mean, they had the Disney movies, but that's it.
Yep.
You know?
Please tell me my geekiness is not, is justified. It's not all for greed.
Well, I don't get me wrong. I think those are contributing factors, but Disney's always. I hate to say this, it's bottom line, and bottom line is
Money.
they're
So not what Walt envisioned.
That's what the Emperor is pushing for right now. He is the streaming service.
Did
Bob
yeah.
Iger. Bob Iger is the Emperor.
Yeah,
He's the one
Mickey's-
really laughing in the darkness.
Nikki's Thanos gauntlet with all the
Yes,
different studios.
Yeah. So yeah.
He's gonna snap movies out of theaters.
This is his. I think this is his last baby before he retires. Iger's, not to go off on a tangent about this, but I think this is his swan song.
Endgame.
It's
his end game.
It is. It is.
Nicely played. Nicely played.
Yes, thank you.
Props. Look at you becoming a podcaster. Look
Right?
at
Yeah.
that. All right.
Yeah.
Give her a treat. Ruh-roh, Scooby. Okay, so I'll let you take these, John. You wrote these down, so I haven't
those
heard of
other
any
ones,
of these.
I did not write those down. I think those are Ink.
I haven't
that
heard
wrote
of
those
these
down.
actually. I didn't know they were.
The only one I've actually heard of, we touched on Loki there,
I have heard She-Hulk. I have heard that one.
and I've heard a little bit about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I haven't heard of that one, but that would be interesting. Well,
So they're doing a show with Scarlet Witch
Falcon
and
is
Vision?
now Captain America, so
Yeah, Falcon's now. Yeah.
I don't know. Scarlet Witch and Vision would be interesting.
It starts at Wakanda. It has to.
It would have to.
It would have to.
Because you got to heal Vision.
But Vision's
Yeah.
main weapon
Thank
is
you,
the,
vibranium.
Vision is his main weapon
Oh.
is the stone. So
My God.
I just broke my wife again.
you did. It would be interesting.
You
though,
made
with
me go,
Vision.
Janice.
I'm gonna go nerd for a second. So Vision's main powers come from the stone. So Vision without the stone, I'm not sure what he would become.
Well, I mean, in the comics, he never was made with the stone. So he was always made from vibranium. He was always incredibly strong, had, the machine mentality.
Okay.
He had all these other powers. That's why it always struck me as weird. It's like, wow, you guys created Vision with the Soul Stone? You didn't... That's not how he was...
Mind Stone, but yeah.
Mind Stone, yeah, sorry. It's like, you created Vision with that? Oh, okay, I get it. I mean, that's what rubbed me wrong about Age of Ultron, because Vision was never made with an Infinity Stone. So...
They went off on their own there.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I don't know. The low key thing is the winner chicken dinner, obviously, with the fans.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Prankster Doctor Who.
Oh,
That's what it has to be.
Jeez.
If it's not that, I'll be sorely disappointed.
Why do I have an S on my shirt? That would be hilarious.
That'll be funny.
That would be hilarious.
And it's just essentially Tom Hiddleston like playing that loop of the Simpsons movie over and over again. It's like, I'm the mascot of an evil corporation.
All right.
Moving on.
All right.
We let the Deadpool out of the bag.
Okay. We are 30 seconds away from 2 hours here on this crazy podcast. So,
Hey, we're 1 hour shorter than the movie.
we are. Thank God.
We talked about the movie and other
Amen.
possibilities.
I don't think there's anything else we can talk about. So, with
Sure.
that in mind, before we go, where can you find four Midwest guys? If you like this podcast or any other podcast out there, you can find us. The best place to find us is www.4midwestguys.com. Right there, you've got links at the top for all of our podcasts. They're categorized at the top. They're also in chronological order on the actual main page itself. You also find links to our Facebook, to our Twitter, to our Podbean, also our just our audio links to the podcast for your audio only, as well as our YouTube link as well. But either way, you can follow, like, and subscribe any which way you choose. You can also find us on Twitter at 4MidwestGuys. You can find Mr. Ankenbauer at Angzone. You can find myself at BWillie1977. And if you're looking for those nice behind-the-scenes photos of how we put the podcast together and the different goofy things that we do to try to get these things going, that's Instagram at 4_Midwest_guys. And you can also find us at, you can reach out to us on email at the number 4MidwestGuys@gmail.com.
But I do think you got a little ahead of yourself. There's one thing we forgot about this review.
What's that?
Our final grade.
Nope, not anymore, because I now do social media before final grade to make people wait for it. So, John, what is your final thoughts and grade on Avengers Endgame?
Final thoughts and grade. Like I said,
I'm going to kick back for a while because this will be a dissertation. All right, no, I'm kidding.
no, my dissertation's done. I've already
30 minutes.
So allow me to break out my PowerPoint for you now.
So you see,
No, final grade's an A. It's
I
definitely
only
an A.
have a week vacation, John.
You're cutting off my final grade. No, final grade is an A. It's
really don't cut people off during final thought. Anyway, go ahead.
welcome to the show.
Eh.
Final grade is definitely an A. It's again, it's a massive undertaking for any movie to actually be this aware of 11 years of content, have this much of an emotional impact, and it earned every second of it. And you're still breaking kudos. You gotta be, sorry, stop.
It's the one rule we don't break.
Turn your chair around. Turn your chair around.
You were saying, John.
Yes. Where was I? No, it's just it earned everything. It was brilliantly done, and it's like just the last great epic we saw in the theater. It's a movie that demands to be seen on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, I other than nitpickiness, I can't really think of anything I can say bad about it. It was a journey that I was glad to be on for 11 years, and I'm glad that they did it the way they did with the finale.
What's your grade, sir?
I said it was an A.
Hey, did you? I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry.
Yes, we had distractions.
That's right. True.
So you know what? I think she ought to go next. She ought to follow up with that.
Go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
I gave it an A. Huh?
Go on.
Nothing? Okay. I gave it an A. I thoroughly enjoyed the film. We went and saw it at the XD Theater. Definitely one that I would like to go see again if I can get a babysitter or time. I just thought it was really well made. And again, 11 years of watching, basically spending the last 11 years going to every film and seeing every film and putting in the time and stuff like that. It makes you like, these are your friends, you know? And you've basically watched them go through all this, and it was just really cool to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to build off that. And, you know, when you think about what a risk, let's go back to 2008 for just 1 minute. And Jon Favreau and Iron Man 1 and what they had in mind and how they had it. Was it perfectly planned out like this? Probably not. But they had this idea, this crazy idea to do like comic books, and how one comic book leads into another. This movie would lead into this movie, and this movie you take this part, and it will eventually bring the Avengers together. And nothing like this has been done in cinematic history. And wow, what a payoff! And we're seeing the payoff. It's $2 billion in what, 16 days? 10 days.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Records are always made to be broken, but I'm not sure that one can be broken. It's unbelievable the amount, because they've taken the time, they've invested in these characters, we've invested in these characters with them, and we've been along on the ride for this journey like we've been talking about for 11 years. And we are at the payoff moment, and this is it. And it just shows you what can be done when somebody takes the real time and the care, the super care for the fans, and they listen to the fans, and they take their, as they're going, it seemed like as we were going along this ride, they heard the fans along the way, and they tweaked it. They didn't change necessarily, make like a major right or left, kind of like we see with DC and some other places go. They seem to be, they tweak it, and then they keep going forward, and they kept going forward, and they had this master plan to get to Endgame, and we're finally here, and it's just a payoff. And I can't say enough about Jon Favreau, and I can't say enough about Kevin Feige and the rest of the Marvel team. They have done it. They've done something that's never been done before. It's a 21 movie saga. Not even Star Wars is doing that. Star Wars is ending at 9.
That we know of.
Well, they're going to do another saga. Supposedly, they're going to step away. But 21 movies over 11 years dedicated to one giant story. Crazy. Never been done. My grade is absolutely an A+ just for that alone. Is it the perfect movie? No. Is it an enjoyable, fun movie? Hell yes, it is. And it is definitely worth seeing. So,
But speaking of Jon Favreau, so you brought him up in your topic.
Uh-huh.
At the end of it, where you see him sitting on the bench with Tony's daughter, he's and his character is happy as Tony's bodyguard, driver, whatever you want to call him.
Yep.
The daughter, he asked the daughter, "What do you want to eat?" And she says, "Cheeseburgers." He said, "I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want."
You know what? Your daddy liked cheeseburgers. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want. And guess who's in Home and Away now? Happy. Happy's
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Home and Away.
Yeah, sorry.
Far from heaven.
Far from heaven and away.
Far from heaven and away and beyond and so forth and so on. Yeah. So yeah, his character is going to play a pivotal part, you know, especially in her raising. You know, John's now doing Star Wars, and I couldn't be happier. He's doing The Mandalorian, and it's going to be, in what I've seen so far, it's fantastic. It's a love letter to the classic trilogy fans, and you can tell that the same love he put in Iron Man is now being done here. But not to get off on a sidetrack, but yeah, I'm thrilled. You know, so
well, I've been a fan of Favreau since Good Will Hunting. So
Swingers. Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
I mean, I didn't really know him until he did Iron Man. You know, that's when I really took notice of him. It took me that long, but yeah, he's fantastic. He's a fan. basically is
Yeah.
what it comes down to. This is somebody who read comic books as a kid. This is somebody who watched Star Wars as a kid, and he's a fan, and he takes care of
Yeah.
what he does. You know,
I wonder what the next generation, like, as we're talking about future generations down the road, like, we grew up, our generation, we had comics and everything.
right?
Where is, I mean, think about it, with the kids, younger kids now, what are they going to develop as their own babies?
I think you're going to see an explosion. It'll take about 15 to 20 years, but you'll see it happen again. You're going to see all the kids that grew up with these movies. This is their Star Wars, right? No, not that Star Wars won't do it for another generation. They will as well, but they will inspire the next generation.
Well, that's what
creators.
life does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will repeat itself, but
It has to.
you're going to see new characters. You're going to see crazy amount of imagination, just because look at what's happened with Star Wars. Just the amount of people that say Star Wars is what I got into movies for.
Me.
You got into movies for. It inspired, it captured your imagination, and it took you somewhere you never thought of before. And that's what these movies did too, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I knew hardly nothing about Iron Man. I knew Iron Man, I knew Spider-Man, I knew Thor barely, I knew a little bit about Doctor Strange. That was it. And the Hulk, obviously.
See, you beat me. I just knew about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and the Hulk. I knew those
And
guys.
Well, I'm sorry, Bruce Banner from the 1980s shows.
The hitchhiking. But yeah. So look at where we've been. I've been a fan of the MCU since Iron Man, and it's crazy. The fact that they've been able to capture and I'm 42 years old, and I knew nothing, and then I came in, and I loved it. So
The one thing I think, is very telling for our final thoughts, every final thought that we've ever done, we have not waxed this nostalgic about anything, ever. Like, the fact that we, feel this weight talking about this movie, this is what, we realize how much of a part of our lives this was.
Well, because time was invested and care was taken, and we responded.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's the lesson, that if studios want to try to recapture lightning in a bottle, look no further.
And I gotta say, man, the one thing I think they did right was they found people that were in love with the source material.
Yeah.
They didn't find any filmmaker that said, oh, I want to give my own spin on this. No, they found people that loved each of the series and wanted to make it just right.
Exactly. You got it. All right, guys. Well, we are, good God, 2 hours, 10 minutes. So before we go 3 hours, we're going to get out of here. So, John and Dirty JZ, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
His lovely wife, Stephanie, thanks
It
for
was
joining us.
fun. Thank
Trial
you.
by fire. I've got to give you props.
Yay, welcome
You
before me.
never, for as long as I've been doing this, I don't want to say three under the bus, but you were like right here.
I
with
wanted
us.
to come.
Yeah.
We take no prisoners here. Just so you know.
Sort of like Game of Thrones. or-
Yeah,
We'll
yes.
get into that.
Just
later.
remember that when the podcast goes off, the night is long and full of terror. No, I'm kidding. Anyway,
Moving on.
so I'm your host, B. Willie, saying, just keep dreaming, guys. Keep dreaming and keep enjoying. That's all I'm going to say. That's my sign off for today. So we will catch you all next time. Bye-bye.